biggest independent VTubers on the planet and how for years, while pretending to be her friend, tried to take away opportunities and suppress the success of an even bigger independent VTuber by the name of Bao. This all started when a very well-renowned artist within the VTuber community published this document titled "Terminating My Work with Sinder." This document is such a bombshell filled to the brim with proof that it's currently sitting at almost 3 million views and it hasn't even been up for 24 hours. That artist wasn't the only.
I have downloaded this document and read through it. If you want, for those in the stream, if it doesn't go through it, we can go through it live on stream if you want.
One, there are multiple documents with a lot of proof published by multiple people, including Bao, who usually stays away from drama. And as time goes on, more and more people are coming out with their side of the story. You have to understand, this doesn't just involve Bao, this involves multiple very successful VTubers being backstabbed by that person. And that is barely scraping the surface here. Not to mention that her apology was one of the worst I've seen in recent memory. To say that this is apocalyptic is an understatement. The entire VTuber community is shook to its core. So what the hell is going on? Well, you already know the drill. Let's talk about it. So as I mentioned, the VTuber at the center of this controversy is Sinder, but she didn't always go by that name. She actually started off in 2020 as a YouTuber by the name of Tashi.mp3, making a variety of different ASMR RP videos.
I've never heard of Tashi.
You're such a good boy for me, ASMR RP. A year later.
If you're a VTuber, look, my does this, my boo, does ASMR channel. Best way to start, because a bunch of weirdos like ASMR. My cousin does it too. It's just what you do to get popular. Like, honestly, it's just what happens. Oh boy, I hope Viper doesn't tune in. She likes VTubers and she's very upset with what happened to Sinder. So, Silverwolf, I have done reaction videos on stream in the past, but people have highly requested. I said I wasn't going to do it anymore. Highly requested me watch this and give my opinion on it, and it's gonna be something. I already know. But yeah, we're gonna be here. There's gonna be a lot of pauses, a lot of things.
On June.
Also, this is my mouse. Look, it's a VTuber mouse. Don't judge me.
2021, she would create her Twitch channel under the name of Sinder and would start streaming. During that time, she would build herself a small community of people. But the real turning point for her was a year later on June 2022 when she would officially do her model debut. The whole thing was a resounding success and people fell in love with her model almost instantly. At the time,
You see this? To be a successful VTuber, you need giant titties, okay? We all know, don't lie, okay? Don't lie to me. You know, and I know, giant titties brings in the boys. And who's on the internet? Boys.
few models looked like it and it was seen as innovative, unique even. Not to mention that it had two very big reasons to keep your attention, I guess.
Exactly, dude. He got it right, dude. This guy, bro, this guy knows what's up, man. He knows exactly why it's popular. Titties for the biddies, that's as they say.
During her debut, she would spend close to an hour showing off her model and the different features that it came with. After her debut, she would get a lot of traction. People really liked her model and her personality. Nanolist was also able to gain some of this traction because she was behind the design of her model. This allowed her to start receiving many commissions from other VTubers who wanted a similar style, and as you can see from how many followers she had in 2023, she was also able to grow exponentially. Sinder would understand that one of the things people loved about her was the design behind her model, so she...
Look at this. It's shameless, guys. Guys, this is shameless. Okay? We all know that it's hot and adorable. We all know that it's sexually provocative. And it's what you do. Like, it's what... If you want to succeed, this is what you have to do.
She stuck with Nano and would keep commissioning a new model or outfit every few months. Now look, when it comes to VTuber models and VTuber outfits, this costs a lot of money. We're talking thousands of dollars. The fact that she was able to do this every few months already showed the resounding success that she found in content creation. Her average view count on Twitch was unstoppable, reaching thousands of concurrent viewers today, ranking her as the 471st most watched content creator on the entirety of Twitch.
At one point, my highest rank was like 997. I was in the top 1,000 of Twitch, by the way, for English. Someone gift me a sub. I'm broke AF. Oh, that's funny.
Of the reason of that growth was that she was able to be a part of the VTuber friend group that included the biggest indie VTubers on the planet. She was seen as a dear friend, and as far as the others knew, that's how she saw them too. Always collabing together and always being a part of...
Isn't this an AI? Isn't this an AI right here? Why is she even in this with the other ones?
Their tier lists or whatever other challenges they do. But that's not all. Her success knew no bounds. In the beginning of 2025, she announced that she was a partial owner of the company.
God, I don't want to pause all the time. This is going to be a stream that's going to last forever. The underboob, guys. Guys, it is shameless. Gamer subs? Dude, everyone talk. I knew never to partner with Gamer subs now. Someone told me to get a partnership with Gamer subs. Dude, I'm glad I didn't.
Gamer subs. This is a huge energy drink company that sponsors many of the top VTubers in the world.
Bang.
She even released her own shaker with them, and the art on the shaker, of course, was also made by Nanoless, and it sold out completely.
They're
all
as big
this
as
to
my
tell
titties.
you that she was extremely successful. Guys, she was never in any controversy. As far as anyone was concerned, she had a very warm and kind personality, as well as a really cool design. Of course, no one could have ever expected that it would just take one document to make her entire successful career come crashing down in an instant. But that's exactly what happened. On April 26th, 2025, Nanoless, who at this point had become completely associated with Sinder's brand, had published this tweet saying, "Hello, I'm here to share something that has affected me personally and hurt others. This was very hard for me, but I feel like it's necessary. Please do not send hate to anyone on my behalf. This is all I want to say." Linking a Google Doc with...
Whenever it's don't send hate to anyone on my behalf, it immediately goes to let's hate on the person on her behalf. All right, that's just how it works.
The title, "Terminating My Work with Sinder." And in the replies, one could see the biggest independent VTubers on the planet fully and unconditionally supporting Nanoless
BM
with
and
this
Rolf know
document.
who Shy Lily.
So let's take a look. Nano starts off with introduction and notes, saying, "I wanted to share my experience with Sinder and Red manipulating me, using me, and dragging me into drama while sabotaging, slandering, and spreading lies about people I thought were her closest friends." So before we continue, you know who Sinder is, but who the hell is Red? Well, Red, otherwise known as Redacted, has been Sinder's manager since she started content creation. This has been a well-known fact. If you knew her or worked with her or whatever, you typically did it through Red. He was somehow involved all the time. So this document wasn't just talking about Sinder, it was also talking about him. Nano continues, "Not only do I no longer wish to work with Sinder, but I want to share what I've endured over the years and shed light on what she has been doing behind people's backs to protect artists and friends that may be experiencing something similar. I struggled..."
Okay. Now, I got told a little bit about this before the stream. This is what I call thug business, okay? She's like doing backhanded deals in business before the time personally started, all right? Like, this is business that, like, if you want to screw over your friends, that's good business. Mentally, bad person, good business, okay? You don't want it to get leaked like this. That's bad news. Personally, I would have shared this privately. The only way a few people of my choosing would know, keep it in behind the scenes so not to cause any large problems. Yeah, but I think she wanted to cause a large problem. I think that Nano wanted this to be an out to screw with Sinder.
A lot with writing this document and wasn't sure if what I felt and experienced working was real or just burnout, but I think this proves that I was lied to and manipulated over the course of years while working with Sinder. Note, based on working with Redacted and Sinder over the years, that I am sure they speak for each other and there is no reason to believe Red was acting without Sinder's consent and knowledge. Whenever I use they or them, it refers to both of them acting.
Yeah, I don't like that, although I get it, sort of an eye for an eye. I absolutely understand the perspective. But if someone screws you on a financial standpoint, look, I tell you, with these reactions, you'll see a whole different side of me. If someone screws you with a monetary transaction like this and screws you out of different partnerships, you tear them a new one. All bets are off. All right? All bets are off. Cheese balls, hi, Shimoni.
As a team. English not being my first language and the language barrier, I discussed the situation, my feelings and thoughts with native English speakers who helped me put them into words so everything is clear without any misunderstandings due to lack of English skills. Note, any names that are censored here were censored because the creator in question did not provide consent to have their name revealed by the time of me posting this document. So this is already a handful, right? It's alleging many things, but thankfully, Nano has a lot of proof in DMs. So she starts off with a section, slandering other creators. I will start with screenshots showing them speaking ill of other creators and spreading rumors while manipulating me that it's all in our best interest. In addition to spreading ill rumors, they also complain and accuse Bao of giving their editor too much work, resulting in the editor not having any time for new clients, which will be important later on. The screenshots below show them showing their affection and appreciation, immediately followed by spreading rumors and lies to make other clients appear problematic to manipulate any future decisions regarding commissions. So these are fairly recent DMs from January 2025. It starts off with Nano saying, "Of course, I wanted to understand it better, especially if I cancel her for the second time, lol," with Redacted saying, "Well, with blank, she's given a lot of bias and priority at GS, which is gamer subs, sometimes over Sinder, and we can't really confront them about."
You have to go to work, J Moni. You have to. There's no other way. How are you going to survive? So she hijacked our YouTube editor. Bro, it's a total manipulation, this guy, it is actively, this is an active, okay, screw with someone else. We are screwing with other people's businesses for our own personal gain. I tell you, this is thug tactics. It really is.
It, and plus, she's gone 3D lately. Bao has been getting on our nerves for a while. She hijacked our YouTube editor a while ago and is constantly picking up artists that we work with. We've gotten to know her better being friends with her, but she really rubs us the wrong way with the things she does. We wanted to try and safeguard our most important artist from her since she's already taken our editor. And I don't mean taken like he doesn't work with us anymore, he does, but he has to dedicate time for her now, and sometimes that gets in the way of our projects. Also, one of Bao's music video editors is the one that did the Boss Rush music video.
Red
we're
statement
99%
here is
sure
true.
she told him not to do any more with us. But like model art is the most important thing, that's a VTuber's entire image. Well, we love working with you. Sinder wouldn't be Sinder without Nano. Okay, but like, let me tell you the tea about the music video thing. Bao had original songs last year that had music videos by her editor, and the songs flopped. Her editor met us at TwitchCon and was saying that he'd love to work with us, practically jumping through hoops to get something planned. We managed to have him squeeze in the Boss Rush music video between his work with Bao. He says he loved working on it and is super excited to work on the next music video project. The Boss Rush song blows up and he's credited as the editor. I ask him when he's free to do the next project. All of a sudden he changes his mind and is only working with Bao going forward. No explanation. Nanolist replies with a panicky,
"Hold on. Wait. This doesn't make sense." But what Redacted said here, let me tell you T, okay? Bao had original songs by her editor, okay? So they took the songs and they flopped. Her editor came to TwitchCon to work with us. Her editor, he would love to work with us, okay? We managed to squeeze him in through Boss Rush in his work with Bao. So if their songs flopped and he wasn't doing well, one, why would you let him on your team? Okay? Why would you want anything to do with him if he's not doing well? Two, if he's freeloading off her editor's songs, original songs that had MVs by her editor, maybe just moved and they flopped, then I just don't understand. Like, it would be good for Bao, just not good for them. And if they're all in it just for the business, then it doesn't make sense to let Bao in at all. I just don't see it.
Emoji,
I don't
and
see
then
what their
Redacted
plan
continues.
was.
There's some context missing
Okay,
since we
wait,
know
wait,
how
wait, here we
Bao
go.
is behind the scenes, but basically we don't have a music video editor now for our next Boss Rush project. We think Bao got pissed that her
So
editor
Bao
did an
took
original song music video for her friends without her knowing, and it
edit.
did 100 times better than her original songs last year, that she locked him up so no one else could work with him. And then had him make it public on Twitter that he was only working with her going forward, like a literal announcement tweet.
So, is this whole controversy that editors and artists are being taken and not being used by anyone else? Because there's plenty of artists and plenty of editors that can do these things. Like, there's not just these couple people here. There's plenty of people that can all do the same thing. Like, I'm not seeing... Because to poach someone happens all the time. From what I can understand, yes, granted, I did not dig too deep. Okay.
And now she's been barking up the tree of one of our Live 2D animators, so like in you, and a Nano model. Nano replies with, yeah, looking
Nano
for me
did the
sounds
model.
sus for sure. Redacted says it's so annoying. I don't know, man. She has a way of guilt-tripping people to get her way. So these are the DMs from January, and it's
This
already
is
looking kind of
literal
bad.
guilt-tripping.
Nano continues in the document
It's
saying,
hypocrisy.
Red asked me to cancel on one of their closest
This is
friends,
to keep
Bao, by asking me to cancel my work mid-progress,
fake
manipulating
close
me into
friend.
thinking it is okay since she has
All of
many
this
connections
is
and she'll
like
be
any
fine
popular
anyway, so I
person
wouldn't
in
feel
the world.
guilty about it or worry too much. It was and is
Fake
upsetting to me
close
that Red
friend.
contacted me
It's- when
specifically
you're
to
on
check on me
streaming-
canceling the model.
I learned this early on streaming. It's you against everyone else, okay? You're versing everyone else for their undivided attention on stream, your views, everything else. Yeah, don't sugarcoat it for someone. It's true. Because you get money based on people watching you. So it's not you and you're collaborating with someone. What they're doing is, one, a horrible thing. But any person trying to make a ton of money would. This is also why I have all my art done by myself and all of my editing done by me. But I also have like no life, so maybe that's just why.
I had planned with Bao. So these DMs are from August 2024 with Red messaging her saying, did you cancel models? Nano said, I did not. Red replies with, Nano arc delayed to 2026. Nano replies with, I'm scared to cancel with Bao, to which Red says, you shouldn't be. She has so many connections. She'll find someone super fast. Did you already design her outfit? I remember her showing it to us at WeebCon, to which Nano says, yeah, I can give her the design for free as an apology gift. This is so scummy, man. You have to understand, commissioning a VTuber model is a very lengthy process. Everything from the initial concept, to the design, to the rigging, to the testing. If you don't pay extra, it might take a year. If you pay double, it might take a few months.
I know Alice takes a very long time with her VTuber models. I'm sorry for pausing so much. This is just how he is. We have to talk about it. And it takes her like a year or 2 years. White Buffalo, how we doing? We are talking about VTubers today. We're doing reaction video. Glad you're here. I haven't done a reaction video in a very long time, but this was highly requested of me to talk about it.
But it takes a while anyway, and finding someone who's both talented and has a free schedule is almost impossible. So this idea of, oh, she has so many connections is very insensitive and scummy. Nano clearly is nervous and doesn't want to cancel, but Red keeps pressuring her to do so. Such weirdo behavior. Nano continues in the document in the next section,
Tomorrow we'll be
exclusivity
streaming
and
Doom the Dark
blacklisting
Ages
other
early.
creators. In the messages below, they
Before
mentioned
release.
wanting an
Well, yeah, Viper
exclusivity
wanted-
contract, but they didn't want to pay for exclusivity. But
Viper wanted to try VTuber, saw the cost, and immediately shut the idea down for now. Absolutely. Absolutely. I know Alice makes them. I don't know how much she thinks. I think it's like $600 for hers. But she does a good job. She's in my Discord. She does a good job. But she was walking me through the steps. It takes forever. Absolutely forever. Do you have Discord? I do. Just do ! Discord.
Rather, when a creator from their blacklist comes asking for a commission, they would guarantee me model work for Sinder only, and if anyone asked me for commissions, they'd commission me instead to compensate for not working with other creators. This felt very strange, given that one of the accusations they made was overworking their editor, yet their solution to me working with other creators was for them to essentially overwork me to keep me from working on other projects. The messages below show that their primary concern is that the more non-Sinder models I make, the less valuable my existing models become. It's hard to say how much this messed with my mind as an artist that by working with other people, I'm somehow making my existing models less special. The following screenshot is one of them setting up the blacklist, saying I'm not allowed to work with any new clients or create any new outfits for Vtuber 1 specifically, and justifying those things by saying that with each model, my art becomes less unique and special, and therefore Sinder somehow will become less special. The idea that my work as an artist and designer is devalued by working with other people is insane and hurtful. After realizing what taking a deal with them would really mean for both my workload and my mental health, I backed out. So this first screenshot is
all right, don't like, come on now. I don't need to hear about your mental health. I know it's bad because they're manipulating you, and I want to give you the benefit of the doubt here, okay? But then again, these mental health things, they're paying you. You're getting paid for it. Nano's getting paid for this. Let's not forget, this artist is getting paid for whatever they're doing anyway. So, like, backed out or not, money is money.
Also from January 2025, very recent, and it starts off with Redacted saying, I mean, like, if we wanted to have some kind of model exclusivity, what would you need to make that sustainable for you? Nano replies with, maybe you can share one of your ideas and I can check what I think. Half an hour passes by, Redacted doesn't say anything, Nano says something, and it's, okay, so I got some ideas for this, I guess. Redacted says, I was driving, what are you thinking? Nano says, okay, so I asked help from my friends, they don't know it's you, so don't worry. So a monthly fee, calculating my monthly earnings. Also, how long would this be, and if this counts for models I already worked on? Redacted replies with, well, I think the main things we're looking for are for you to not take any brand new model clients and to not make any new models outfits for blank again. So this is them deliberately targeting one VTuber in particular. Anyway, he continues, you'd still be able to work on models/outfits with all of your other existing babies and your artwork commissions wouldn't be affected. One of our concerns is that more nano babies means nano models don't have the same value anymore. And by the way, guys, when he says nano babies, it's a VTuber term, so...
Okay. This is actively lowering his profits, Nano's profits, because he's not taking, artists. They should be paying Nano to keep his art exclusive. It's not just don't do it. It's that he should be paid for this type of behavior. If you are being exclusive, you need to be paid for it. Not do it for free for the goodness of your heart. It's money. This type of manipulation won't work on people that aren't easily brain scrambled. Do it anyway. Too bad.
So typically people who make your model are called Papa or Mama, and the VTuber commissioning them is their baby, okay? Yeah, I know it's weird if you're not into VTubers, okay? You don't have to tell me, but now you know. Anyway, he continues, and second is that there's a few people that we just would rather not be able to have a model from you. Maybe not any new babies at all. The reason why I brought this up at all is that there's been a lot of bias with another one of our partners with certain creators, and we'd rather these creators not have what makes Sinder unique, which is your artwork. Just drama. An hour later, Redacted comes up with an idea, saying, what about we can pay blank for you, and you don't have to discount it from the next payment, and we'll continue giving you lots of model work, I think around 4 this year right now, but you don't work with blank, blank, or blank at all again, models or art. I don't think you've ever done anything with blank or blank before. We also have another gamer subs label for you too, the AFK. This is absolutely wild. Look at how many people they're blacklisting over here, okay?
Hold on. Now, hold on. What about we can pay for you and you don't have to discount it for the next payment and you don't work with them? This is a bribe, which is completely legal. Nano is getting paid for this to not work with other people, and he doesn't have to do work. It's a win-win for him. If Sinder is willing to pay for her art to be exclusive from her friends, there's nothing wrong with this. Is it scummy? Yes. But is it evil? No. It happens in business all the time. This is something that happens all the time. Scummy, sure, but not absolutely like wrong with it or nothing. I don't think there's anything wrong with what's going on with that.
Nanolist replies with, is there any way to add a little bit more since blank still asks for art every now and then? Redacted says, we could do it like when blank asks for art, you tell her no, and then tell us so that we buy another art piece. Like, so you still get a job from it. Now, I'm sure you're wondering who these censored creators in the message are. Well, now we know. This is the full message, with Redacted saying, you don't work with Bao, Cotton, or Blank at all again, models or art. I don't think you've ever done anything with Bao or Cotton before. These are, again, very big independent VTubers that called Sinder a friend. This is one of the most shameless things I've ever seen. Gatekeeping art from friends.
But you're getting paid for it. Gatekeeping art from friends? Yeah, if they're your friends, scummy. Okay, this is a scumtastic move. But you can also, like, if you are a bad person, you can see it. You can see what they're trying to do. Like, it's just good business. I'm not here to defend Sinder, but I'm also not here to take Sinder, everyone else's side yet.
And also gaslighting a very talented artist. It's wild. Now bear in mind, there's a VTuber that's still censored here, and throughout the document you'll see a person of interest called Vtuber1. Those got revealed later and we'll talk about them in this video, so don't worry. Nano then continues in the document saying, another example of speaking ill of other creators right after they saw I was working with Shy Lily, trying to once again make the idea of working with other clients seem like I am setting myself up with problematic people who will do me no good in the long run to get me to reconsider working with them. They also continuously kept asking about my other clients' plans, which for them made the antenna go up and immediately went into slandering Lily. And when Nano says Lily, she of course means Shy Lily. They consistently try to reassure me that despite their best efforts, they just happen to keep trying to bring drama in as reasons for me to go exclusive, and that working only with Sinder is them trying to look out for me. So this is extremely recent, like a couple weeks ago, right? In mid-April 2025, with Redacted saying, hey Nano, do you have more plans with Lily besides just the model, like outfits or merch or anything? Nano says, been just the model so far, to which Redacted says, okay, her asking you for a model recently just made the antenna go up. She's been...
Is it weird? Yeah. And is Redacted paying them to not do this? Like just say it. Give Nano $1,000 and he won't do the model for Shy Lily. Boom. Nothing wrong with that. But they're using underhanded manipulation tactics, which makes them be even more scumball than just paying the guy.
Acting weird towards Sinder lately, and we don't know if something's going on. Nano says, oh, that's weird. Redacted says, ever since after V-Card launched, which is a VTuber trading card game that Shy Lily helped launch. Nanolist says, but what do you consider weird? And Redacted says, lately dipping out of collabs they were both a part of at the last minute and now ghosting her messages. Cinder's raided her a couple times on Twitch in the past week, and Lily won't acknowledge Sinder by name. Just like pretty weird petty stuff, I don't know. Nano says, that's super weird since they both share the same store, lol, referring to Gamersupps, that they both have partial ownership in. And Redacted says, around V-Card's launch they were talking and collabing and I don't know what happened, but her asking you for a model after that was just weird, even though she said she doesn't plan on getting a new model anytime soon. I don't know, hate that we keep bringing you into drama, to which Nano says, yeah, I thought it was quite early to go for a new model. Redacted says, feels like we're gonna have to compete with Lily if she's ghosting Sinder and wants the same model mama. So of course, I don't have to tell you, Shy Lily is also one of the biggest independent VTubers on the planet, and she is someone that considered Sinder a friend. Now we have proof that she was backstabbing her too. Nano continues in the document, the idea that they need to stay informed and gauge the competition.
Hold on. I want to say this again. As far as we know, based on these reports, it's just Redacted who's saying this on Sinder's behalf. Sinder didn't really say this yet. We don't know if it's truly an all-around evil thing yet. Because it could have just been Redacted doing these underhand backtab moves on their behalf.
is extremely upsetting and toxic to me. The competition they're referring to are people I thought they considered friends who always helped, supported, and platformed Sinder. When I pushed back, the immediate response was blaming the other creators and implying that they initiated it by trying to work with me and that somehow justified their actions. They imply Shy Lily ignored Sinder when she spent over a minute thanking the raid, which you can see in this clip. Let's watch it together.
Ignore what you just saw. Okay. Ooh! Oh my goodness! Hello! Oh! Hello, Raiders! Hello! I am playing Berserker. It's called The Last Berserker. Kazan. We were sponsored, but the game was really fun, so I just kept playing for like a million more hours. Hello, everyone! Hello! The Pyro Pop raid! Hello, Pyro Pops! What did you guys do? I am low-key addicted. I usually... Okay, so most people know me for my gacha addiction, but...
Right, so I think that's enough proof to see that she acknowledged the raid and did her best to interact with her and her community when they raided her. So this idea that she ignored her completely is totally false. And I think it was just them hoping that Nano would be too lazy to actually find the stream itself and see Shy Lily's real reaction to the raid.
Real.
Again,
She
very scummy behavior. On that same day, Redacted and Nano kept DMing each other, with Redacted saying, "Real, is it just Sinder and Blank you've been doing continuous model outfits for? We'll have the demon update list plus final arcade reference for you as soon as it's finished." To which Nano says, "I think it is. I have an outfit for Blank planned too. As for Blank, got nothing for now, but she always comes up with something." Redacted asks, "Do you know who's rigging Shy Lily's model?" Nano List says, "Gonna be Blank." To which he replies with, "Thanks, Nano. Sorry for all the questions. Just gotta stay informed, especially when it comes to our top artist, never a break." Nano says, "Don't worry, just don't stress too much with the side things. It's bad for balding." Redacted replies with, "I'm gonna go bald now. I'll keep you in the loop about anything else going on with that." Nano replies with, "The balding?" And Redacted says, "No, you fool, just stupid drama. Gotta stay competitive even when we shouldn't have to. Also, your profile picture looks like a guy with a mustache." And Nano says, "Don't go too far on the competitiveness. It can get bad. Gotta chill sometimes." To which Redacted says, "Hey, it's not us. We aren't the ones getting a model."
It is you. These are proven things that Redacted is extremely competitive. And so if he's saying on behalf of Sinder, then Sinder has to be. But then again, I mean, he is now officially a liar. We cannot trust what this man is saying anymore because he lied to Nano. Proven lied.
From the artist of the other GamerSupps owner out of the blue and ghosting them and refusing to acknowledge them. You know, this is made weirder by the fact that both Shy Lily and Sinder are co-owners of a company, and this is how Sinder is treating her. Her competitiveness knew no bounds. She would probably push a toddler off a bridge if it meant getting 100 extra viewers on Twitch, okay? Nano continues in the document saying, "Below, I wanted to push back and make clear I was uncomfortable on being dragged into drama, and they responded by bringing up more drama and baseless claims, all while trying to guilt trip me. It is ironic and crazy to me that I mentioned not wanting to be dragged into personal issues, only for them to on multiple occasions mention other people's alleged drama." So this is where things get real, because it's not Redacted doing the talking, it's Sinder directly. The DMs were from February 11th, 2025, so just a couple months ago, and it starts with Nano saying, "Sinder, just wanted to say sorry for stepping back on the exclusivity deal. Wanted to apologize personally to you since I've only talked about that with Red. But I just don't want to be dragged on any personal issues like that. After all, Blank is still a client, and it makes me anxious and kind of destroys my mental to do this kind of deal. Just wanted to let you know I still love working with you and Red, but I'll understand if things doesn't work out because of Blank. I just love my clients, that's all." 3 hours later, Sinder replies with, "I get it, Nano, and it was unfair to push this on you, but it's just really confusing going back and forth about it. I just get compared to her a lot, even still today, and it's like I'm always living in someone's shadow, which is one reason why Redacted asked about not making any more models for her. And when you said, I understand if things don't work out, it makes me feel like you're okay with not working with me anymore, which hurts so much after all this time. I really appreciate you, Nano, and it's your decision who you ultimately work with, but this is how I've been feeling." Nano continues in the DMs, replying with, "I don't really see the point of keeping thinking about being compared to Blank. You're so much bigger already, you've done so much more. But I would never give Blank any priority over you. Also, there's not even any model for her being discussed. I just want to sleep clear-minded. Also, I'm fine not doing her models, but at least GamerSupps art stuff would be fine with me. I don't want to be 100% an asshole to her, that's all." And Sinder replies with, "It's not me, but other people's opinions of us. And I'm just trying to not get involved in any drama that other people want to talk about comparing us. But I understand where you're coming from, Nano. Nano, there's no hard feelings, and Nano says, sorry about this, my mental is just a bit weak. Cinder says, same girl, to which Nano says, I'm
Nano
sorry
is
for
a girl?
bringing this to you. Cinder then replies with, I want you to get that money. The whole situation is just kind of sucky, I want to just get along. And then Nano specifies that
You
the
do
phrase
get
that she
along.
said, I understand if things didn't work out, meant that it would be mostly if you hate me for not burning blank down from my list. To which Cinder reassures her saying, I would never hate you, and Nano said, thank you, and same, I'm just an insecure bitch. Cinder ends this conversation by saying, I love everything we've done together and I want to keep doing more. People saying dumb shit online just makes me stressed. Nano continues in the document, saying, justifying their behavior by stating they are simply looking out for me when none of this has anything to do with me to begin with, and
Easy psychological manipulation. This is easy. But what Cinder said is true. I want you to get that money. Okay? If Nano said, I'm going to do it anyway, and do it, right? Manipulation or not, are you going to pay me? I wouldn't feel so bad. Like, I don't want to victim shame, but I also don't want to say, like, is Nano really free from all problems here? She really could have dealt with this as easy as... Honestly, what the hell I would do is I would share Lily, like Shy Lily or any of these people that they said, send them a screenshot. They don't want to work with me. Ask them questions. That's the end. The end of it. Cinder, redacted, they wouldn't know what to do. Because if you don't want to be affected by drama, you become the drama. Then they'll say it's your fault. Well, too bad. How is it my fault? This is what you said. It's your drama. You just sent it to me. It's not your problem anymore.
manipulating me into
This
being
would've
grateful
stopped
for
real
earning well
quick.
thanks to them despite the loss of work from long-time returning clients and new clients. As you can see, this is already a handful, and we're barely halfway through this document. It gets worse. The next section in the document is called Concerning My Work and Models as a Team. Another example of going after other clients of mine from before, claiming that having more clients alongside them makes my work less special, with the recurrence of it's just business. Manipulating me into believing that working with her is special for multiple reasons and that I risk losing that special something as a client if I prefer to work with others. No acknowledgement of my reasoning and need of working with other clients due to the nature of my work, solely focused on their issues. I would also like to note again that this screenshot is one of many occasions that indicate that Red speaks on Cinder's behalf. I was originally concerned with everything going through Red that it may not have been 100% of Cinder's feelings or wants. I messaged her about it to make sure that he spoke on her behalf and confirmed with both of them this was the case. So this is it. Some people read only the first few pages of the document and concluded, wait, this isn't Cinder, this is just her manager. He's probably speaking on her behalf and she has no
that's
idea.
what I thought
Well, this
before
right
this.
here confirms, no, not only was she aware of what he was saying, but she fully agreed with everything her manager said. These DMs date back to November of 2023, and it's Nano starting off the conversation saying, hey Cinder, hope you're doing okay. I talked with Red and I believe he talked to you already, and I thought it would be best if I just check here personally. Actually, I wanted to know better your thoughts because Red tried to talk to me and I think I misunderstood things. To which Cinder says, I'm doing good, what's up Nano? Nano then says, oh, it's mostly about this. And it's a screen cap of what Red said in their DM saying, not to discredit any of your work because everything you work on is the top of the line incredible, but when everyone's a Nano baby, it feels less special to be one if that makes sense. Kind of been getting the same feeling from gamer subs lately too. To which Nano says, I thought on canceling some models because of it, but then I realized it's not really fair to me. To which Cinder replies with, I understand what he means, but at the end of the day, it's just business. Bro, what is this, the mafia? Pointing a gun at your head and before shooting you saying it's nothing
Dude, look, I'm gonna get canceled. I'm gonna get hate. I agree with Cinder here. It's just business. It is. Having the artist not provide, but here's the thing. You have to pay Nano to be exclusive. Not manipulation, a transaction. Okay? It is not fair for her to not make art for other people if she is getting paid for it. It's just business. Her own words.
personal, it's just business. What the hell is this? She then continues, of course we love working with you and want to keep working together, but if you prefer to work with other clients instead of me, I know it's for a reason for you to help grow and not because you don't like me. Being one of your very first model babies was so amazing. I was happy to be able to find someone to help you with live 2D cutting to improve your skills, and I think that's a big part of why I love the 1.0 model and then started asking you for them. I can have Redacted send you a list of our plans for the future and estimated due dates, so just let us know what you actually want to work on. That way I have time to look for someone else if you don't have time for my projects or don't want to do them. It feels special to only have your model art for all my outfits, but just let me know if you don't have time for me to be an exclusive Nano art baby anymore. Nano then replies with, it's no personal reason. I would never do something like this to you or anyone, but yeah, it's important for my job to reach far and I like working on different projects and people. I never ever said I don't want to work with you anymore. I told Red that even though I have my other works, I will always have a way to get you a priority spot when possible. You'll always be my special baby. Sinder replies with, I also think it's important for you to work on projects that you're excited about, so I'll go through my plans with Red and send you our ideas to see if it's possible with your schedule. I know he can be a little pushy sometimes, but it's because he's just doing business for me to grow too, and he absolutely loves your work just as much as I do. Nano says it's okay, we'll update you guys ASAP, and Sinder says sounds good to me. Nano continues in the document saying, Red tries to make it look like they never meant for it to appear like they wanted me to be exclusive by framing it as something I wanted, while immediately doubling down on the fact that me working with more people makes my work less special and no longer unique, as if every design is just a Sinder clone. These are DMs also from November 2023 between Nano and Redacted, in which Nano says, so it's about working with Sinder. No, my friends told me it's a bit unfair for me to stop working other models, so I do more for Sinder, which I agree with them. I'm a free artist and I should do whatever I want to do. I don't want to take sides on any drama or situation.
It's not about drama or situation. I'm going to say this repeatedly. If Nano was paid to be exclusive, then you're not a free artist anymore. But they didn't pay Nano. Thus, she could do whatever she wants. Just do it anyway. Do it anyway and then screw them. If they don't, then who cares? And especially in this case, I would send these to the other VTubers. Just send it to them. They don't want you to work with Lily or Bao or Cotton. Send it to Lily, Bao, and Cotton. Then Cinder's in a world of trouble. Then it's not your problem because you didn't send it. They sent it to you. If you don't want drama, you make the drama for them.
I still will always have a way to have open slots for Sinder, but I won't be having her as my only customer. Redacted says, I agree, you're a free artist and you should do what you want, but I was under the impression that taking on more Sinder work is what you wanted to do. I didn't think it was like we were making you do that. Nano then says, guess we got a misunderstanding on both sides? It's more about this. And she replies with the initial message from Redacted in which she was like, yeah, not to discredit your work or anything, but whenever you work with other clients, it makes your work less special, right? To which Redacted says, oh, I see. I mean, what I said is still true about how we feel, but I wasn't saying you had to only do Sinder work from now on.
Why doesn't it?
Bro, what the hell is this, man? He then continues, that's with anything though, not just your work. If you have something special and then everyone wants and gets that thing, it makes it less special. I'm sorry you were under the impression we were trying to make you only do work for us. I will keep things more business talk and less emotional, lol. Just let me know how this will affect your schedule so I can tell Sinder after. Sorry for the stress, Nano. To which she replies with, but every single model I do is unique and I make them special in their way. It's not like I'm selling Sinder to everyone. Please don't feel this way. Redacted then says, no, I know. You pour your heart and soul into your models and they're all incredible. And Nano ends this conversation with, I'm sorry I made you both feel this way too. So textbook manipulation, textbook gaslighting, textbook backstabbing. I mean, is there anything here that doesn't scream manipulation to you? Reading through these DMs, I feel very sorry for Nano. She clearly loves to make art and is so conflicted here because she values Sinder as a friend and client, but at the same time, her gut feeling tells her something's wrong. These are very unreasonable demands. Anyway, the document continues. It's simply business. Normalizing their behavior once again by stating that it's simply business to sabotage other VTubers' careers and not work with them and focus on Sinder instead. This is again from November 2023, in which Redacted says, it's okay, Nano. You're just making a living and making a name for yourself, and I can't blame you for accepting work from other big names in the industry and having very desirable talent. If you end up filling your model schedule again like it was, let me know. We'll have to replan some things depending on that. Nano replies with, thank you for understanding my side. We're all trying to have our names somewhere. Just don't take this personal or anything. I still love working with you guys, and again apologize for the trouble on your plans. I'll still revisit my list and see what I got. He then says, business is business. If you want to go through the projects we talked about and let me know which ones you'd want to do too. Later on, Redacted replies to another message from Nano in which he says, I don't want to take any sides on any drama or situation, and he says, is this about blank model Nano? Nano says, yeah, I want to take it, but I don't want to disrespect Sinder. I just want to do pretty models, no hurt feelings. Redacted then says, business is business, to which Nano replies with a crying emoji. Redacted replies with, Nano, you're a freelance artist and blank is a longtime client, so it makes sense to continue doing work for her. I understand the logistics of it. At the end of the day, you need to do what's best for you. Nano replies with, I really appreciate for understanding my side. I do understand your side too, but sadly it's something between you two, not me. I shouldn't get involved in this fight. I just go art, brr. Redacted then says, right, I know, I just didn't think our conversation sounded like I was trying to make you not work with her on a model, like blank specifically. Nano then says, maybe I just considered the situation too much. My mistake for thinking this way. And he says, it's okay. Then Nano says, but are we good for real? This feels like a weird breakup. I'm stressing. And Redacted says, me and you are good, but I still have to tell all this to Sinder. It'll be fine. Don't worry. I think she's still sleeping. So it's just a constant back and forth. It's very exhausting to talk to people like this because in 2023, they made her think that by taking on other clients, her art meant less. Then when she confronted them about it, they were like, we never meant that. We just want you to work on Cinder's models. Do what you gotta do. But then we saw very recent DMs from 2025 as well as 2024 in which they were telling her, do not work on models for these people in particular. This just keeps getting worse and worse. Nano continues the document saying, damage control, making sure none of this reaches the other VTubers and is all kept hush-hush, while also providing proof that they know what they do is ill-intended and should not get out, as it would cause issues for Cinder's career to be painted in this light. Note that the uncalled shot at VTuber 1 is even spoilered, a hidden message in Discord, so it wouldn't accidentally be leaked. This was from the same day in November 2023. A lot was revealed that day. Nano says, I try to be transparent as much as possible. I think it's more fair for both sides this way. And Redacted says, you didn't tell blank you canceled because of Cinder, did you? And Nano said, no, I told all of them it was health issues. I would never blame anyone besides.
So they lied on, Nano lied on Cinder's behalf? Are you kidding me? And we're saying this is their friend. We were friends with everyone here. Bruh. I wouldn't be lying ever. I wouldn't lie at any point.
Blank. Redacted then says, lol, we never want to make you feel like we're making you or forcing you to work on / not work on something, especially if it's something you want to / don't want to do. And our conversation the other day doesn't mean to convince you of only doing Cinder work. Again, sorry that it sounded to you like I was telling you to do only Cinder work. I'll message you later. So ever since 2023, Redacted and Cinder have been obsessed with just this one VTuber, always tracking what she's doing and not wanting her to hire Nanolist no matter what. Here you can see Redacted saying, well, let's see if blank wants a nano model or not and hope blank finds someone else. Nano continues in the document saying the constant obsession with VTuber 1 and claiming that she's asking for it by causing this unspoken competition, which is coming from absolutely no other source than Cinder herself. So Cinder was convinced this VTuber was competing with her directly and wanted to steal her thunder. It's censored in this document, but we'll later find out who this is because she also made her own document. Yeah, we're gonna be here for a while. Nano's document ends with around 3 or 4 screenshots showing this absolute obsession with this VTuber and the unhinged thought process that Redacted and Cinder had towards them. This is Redacted saying, I think it's more like wanting her to recognize Cinder even though it literally doesn't matter. I feel like there's this unspoken competition between them, like they need to one-up each other because blank can't get along. But I also understand her point of view. The new VTuber who people say looks, sounds, and acts like you becomes just as successful as you in a year.
You ever go to like a salon, a haircut place, or the pool, and women always are like, you know, I'm prettier than you type of thing. It's like when fat people, like fat women, think that being skinny doesn't make you more attractive because they want to get, you know, men to like them. It don't work that way. See, women are women's worst enemy, okay? Let's get this straight. Women hate other women. And this VTuber hating this other VTuber, it's the same thing. It's competitive. It's the same thing. That's all this is. It's very common, happened throughout history. Just
if she did recognize Cinder as an equal or a friend, then I would be like she's endorsing her copy, or like I've seen some people say her replacement. They share a lot of the same audience too. Like at the end of the day, it isn't just about how much we make compared to her. We just want her to recognize, hey, Cinder is a big VTuber too. She got there on her own merits, just like you did. Get along. and the marketing potential and money they could make if they teamed up. I just know anything we do, she's watching and will take from or try to outdo. Oh my god. You know the spinning figure we have on stream? Blank's figure was announced on Wednesday, no spinning figure. Cinder debut Saturday, everyone hears about it. Figure announced, spinning figure on screen with exclamation mark figure right next to it. Blank streams yesterday, first stream since Cinder debut, guess what? Spinning figure with exclamation mark figure next to it. Now this might seem confusing, but we were just talking about VTuber 1. But there was another VTuber that both Cinder and Redacted were obsessed with, a Cerberus pup VTuber. Here we have Redacted talking about her mid-conversation, accusing her of copying Cinder every chance she got, saying, then like a month later unfollowed her on Twitter and started taking her ideas, Cinder's ideas, like the flames, and now she's basically rebranded to more of a fire Cerberus, using fire emojis all the time, shaking my head. Never did that before. It's funny because she used to call herself a hellhound, but stopped when Cinder grew past her and now uses Cerberus, or Cerber pup, or whatever her lore says she is, I don't know. Nano says the unfollow is weird, and then Redacted says, yeah. So it's like there was also unprovoked tweets from her like, I didn't copy anyone else for my design, my design is on me, this is who I am. Like, huh? Who are you saying that to? Then he continues and says, oh, lol, on random Cinder clips on YouTube, there was one dedicated Blank fan or someone she knew, I don't know, that would comment on these clips saying like, when are you going to clip Blank? Only on Cinder clips. Nano ends this document by saying, I'd like to highlight the irony of expecting to be entitled to recognition for her own efforts and size when her own active efforts are tied to sabotaging this very same VTuber. Also feeling entitled and insisting to be recognized by someone else is odd. Thanks for taking the time to read through everything. I hope everything makes sense and everyone who has been hurt, manipulated, or sabotaged by her will find closure. So look, this whole idea of, oh my god, this VTuber's copying me or whatever, this isn't the first time we see it in the VTuber space. It happens more often than anyone would like to. But Cinder, as well as Redacted, were taking it to a whole other level. They weren't just concerned by someone copying them, they were obsessed. And they were dragging their artist who has been loyal to them into this mess as well. It was a very, very bad look. Some people were analyzing some of the DMs between Cinder and Nano, and this part right here, where she says, being one of your very first model babies was so amazing, I was happy to be able to find someone to help you with Life 2D cutting to improve your skills, and I think that's a big part why everyone loved the 1.0 model and then started asking you for them. Made people think like, wait, what are you saying here? Are you saying your skill is thanks to me because I found someone that can help your Life 2D cutting? And the reason everyone even started to look for you is because they loved my model first? It seemed like Cinder believed Nanolist owed her for the success, that she would be a nobody if it wasn't for Cinder. What a very weird attitude to have. Additionally, here's a screenshot of all the models that Nanolist worked on. Oh my god, I have to censor that. Dude, her boobs are literally out of the outfit. What? Anyway, as you can see, they don't look the same at all. They're all very special and all have their unique traits. This idea that the more models she worked on would devalue her work as an artist was a ridiculous claim to make, and everyone can see that now. But speaking of everyone, what about her close friends that she backstabbed so shamelessly? What was their reaction? Well, Cottontail was one of the people mentioned in that document that both Cinder and her manager were trying to keep away from Nano, even though they were friends, in which Redacted says, you don't work with Bao, Cotton, or Blank at all again. She tweeted this, saying, this made my stomach drop to read. It makes me very sad to have things come out like this, sending Nano and Bao so much love. I mean, I can't even imagine thinking that someone is my friend and they're out there in DMs getting their manager to gatekeep an artist from me because they think I'm a threat to them. But of course, Cottontail was far from being the only one affected here. 5 minutes after Nano released her document, Bao quote tweeted and said, I was very hurt by someone I thought was a friend, with her own Google document. Dude. Now look, many friends of Cinder were involved in this, but Bao was more involved than most because this didn't just concern Nano, it also concerned editors as well as animators. So here's what Bao had to say in her document, saying, hello, this is Bao. I will only speak to what Nanolist has decided to share with the public and the messages that directly mention me by name. I would like to kindly ask everyone to refrain from turning this into a witch hunt and remember that we are still humans at the end of the day. Before I start, I want to point out why I'm addressing both Cinder and
No. No. If you're releasing this, okay, your side of the story, you don't refrain from it turning into a witch hunt. You are aiding and embedding in the witch hunt. Don't lie to everybody. We all know that's what this is and what it's going to be, okay? It's not going to be, oh, let me tell you the story, it's no hard feelings to send and react. No. You are actively making this post to share your side of the story, and people are not going to like them for it. That's what's going to happen. Saving face is just
redacted despite the messages
waste
being
of your
largely
time.
from redacted. Many times throughout the messages, the words we, we're, our occur
Okay.
numerous times. As someone who was close to and worked with Sinder for years, I have firsthand experience in how Sinder and Red collaborate and the extent to which Red operates as her primary point of contact in her professional and personal projects. It is
much
that
everything,
experience
right?
that leads
So-
me to believe that all requests and messages sent by Red were both known about and approved of by Sinder. In March 2024, I announced that one of my subathon goals was a Live 2D model. This right here is the tweet of her announcement. If she reaches 10,000 subs, she's going to commission a new sexy mommy Live 2D model. That's what she's referring to. She then
Sexy
continues,
mommy,
Nanolist
huh?
was going to be the Live 2D illustrator. After she finished both the design and base model sketch, there was suddenly back and forth on whether or not she had the physical and mental capacity to continue my model. I was very sad, as I had not only teased the screenshot of the model sketch on Twitter, but I had grown very attached to the design and showed it to all my friends in a private group chat that Sinder was a part of. I shared how devastated I was, and she did not comment or say anything despite others in the group chat comforting and reassuring me. I now realize that the reason for her silence was because Sinder and Redacted were deliberately sabotaging ongoing commissions and blocking VTubers such as myself from having access to art from Nanolist. She then shows us the same screenshots that were in Nano's document, in which we now know that Bao, Cotton, as well as other VTubers were directly targeted by both Redacted and Sinder. Bao then continues in her document and says, Nanolist asks Redacted on why he is encouraging her to not finish my model.
Dude, I gotta be completely honest. These Google Docs that out people in the VTuber community, it's so funny. It's so funny to me. Like, you guys can't be twitted and deal with it yourselves. You gotta make a document. Why don't you make a YouTube video or something? Do what like Ethan did to Hassan. Like, these documents, come on now.
Redacted then lists my name amongst various VTubers as well as the vendettas Sinder and Redacted harbor against each. She then lists all these reasons that they were targeting Bao. The first one being, Bao has been getting on our nerves for a while. The second, she hijacked our YouTube editor. The third, constantly picking up artists that we work with. The fourth, now she's barking up the tree of one of our Live 2D animators. And the fifth, has a way of guilt-tripping others to get her way. This is what Redacted lists as reasons why Nanolist should cancel her ongoing Live 2D commission with me, all the while continuing to collaborate with me and pretending to be my friend. This is not what friends do. Friends do not sabotage other friends out of business opportunities. Friends do not spread lies to fuel selfish narratives. Friends do not use the private information they get from the privilege of being close friends just to use it to manipulate others. If stepping on your friends and abusing your power and connections is how you get to the top, then I hope you realize no one will be left when you get there. She then links another screenshot we saw in Nano's document of Redacted asking, did you cancel the models? And then says more screenshots of them urging Nanolist to cancel the ongoing Live 2D commission with me, even mentioning how excited I was about it when I showed them the design during Sinder and I's concert at WeebCon in 2024. That is so scummy. Again, this is a screenshot that we saw in Nano's document. So then Bao mentions something that happened in this conversation between Nano and Redacted, in which Redacted was urging her to cancel the model with Bao, and Nano saying, I can give her the design for free as an apology gift. Redacted then said, I wouldn't offer it for free, maybe half price if she starts shit, lol, and Bao quotes that sentence of Redacted and says, I don't know what I have ever done to either Redacted or Sinder to deserve this level of vitriol towards me. I don't remember having any issue or any problem that couldn't have been solved by talking. So yeah, this is really, really screwed up, obviously. I mean, anyone can tell, right? It's like Bao murdered one of their family members and got away with it. Like, what did she do, man? Anyone who's ever worked with her has said nothing but good things about her. Out of all her friends, she decided to target the person who is probably the nicest out of all of them. Anyway, Bao continues saying, regarding the messages where Sinder and Redacted openly accused me of stealing their YouTube editor, Boss Rush music video animator, as well as any artist they have worked with, she attaches an image that shows an email between her and Kaiser, their YouTube editor, in which she says, Hi Kaiser, nice to meet you. I was just watching your stream highlight from me and Sinder's collab, and I really loved your editing style and humor. I was curious if I could request a video edit from you every now and then if you have any availability. My username is Bao on Discord if you want to chit-chat more there. Thanks again. And Kaiser says, Hi Bao, I'd love to edit a video for you. I just sent a friend request on Discord. Bao continues in the document saying she hijacked our YouTube editor. Their YouTube editor, Kaiser, is a mutual YouTube channel editor for myself and Sinder. My channel manager, June, and I asked Kaiser for one stream highlight per month as we are aware of his extensive position as Sinder's channel manager. I made a point to note this in my inquiry email to him in 2023. She then shows a screenshot of a call that lasted 5 hours and says, on March 20th, I started a group Discord call that lasted 5 hours to hang out with my editors. In this group call, Kaiser shared with us that he was afraid to ask Sinder for a raise because he initially eventually turned down an exclusivity deal. As a friend to both Sinder and Kaiser, I encouraged him to take the deal and reassured him that it would not change our friendship, as I would never want someone I care about to miss an opportunity, even if it meant I would lose him as an editor. The other editors who were in the call can corroborate this. I'm sharing this context because there are no words to describe the hurt and betrayal I feel now, knowing that on the other side of this conversation, Sinder and Redacted were actively portraying me as a thief and a detriment to their business. I have only ever supported them in their activities and never once thought that I had somehow gotten on their nerves. She then quotes what Redacted said in the DMs with Nano, a sentence that said, Bao had original songs last year that had music videos by her editor and the songs flopped. Bao then says, I'm in shock and disbelief that this is the narrative they decided I deserved, saying that I harbored an invisible jealousy because my songs flopped made me feel sick to my stomach. In late 2024, I was dealing with debilitating TMJ pain that resulted in me having to drain fluid from my jaw joint to open my mouth properly. They both knew this. I have always wanted my friends to succeed alongside me, and I don't know how they could say these things while simultaneously.
They knew that she was having a severe medical issue, and yet went and basically threw what we know as her friends under the bus. For what? Just for manipulation? Like, this is a whole new level. This is Seth levels bad. Seth levels of manipulation.
Simultaneously weaponizing my most vulnerable moments against me. I mean, at this point, no comment, right? Like, no comment. This is disgusting. For years, they were trying to backstab her as hard as they could. She had no idea. She thought they were friends. So this was her clearing up the whole idea that she stole their editor. She did nothing of the sort. But then there was the topic of her animator. So here she quotes the sentence that Redacted had told Nanolis, which is, we're 99% sure she told him, Sacramore, her animator, not to do any more with us, referring to the Boss Rush music videos. And these screenshots were in Nano's initial document. Bao says, in these messages, Sinder and Redacted are referring to my animator, Sacramore, whom I have been working with since 2023. She proves this by showing DMs between them in 2023, Bao saying, hi, I'm going to bed, but give me your rates and turnaround time for a video like the Bao Experience one. Me and my editors loved it, and Sac said, yo, all good. And she continues, in 2024, Sac asked me if he could go completely exclusive for me and work for me in-house with no credit in order for him to be able to quietly work on his personal projects and brand without having VTubers ask him for more commission work. I was happy to accept. I want to reiterate that this was Sac's decision and no one else's. Then she says, here is proof of Sac mentioning his wishes to be my in-house animator directly to my channel manager June back in December 2024, refuting Redacted's claims that I locked him up due to Boss Rush's success. These DMs between Sac and June, her channel editor, have Sac asking, yo, is it fine if going forward I don't be credited in video descriptions? To which June says, okay. Sac then says, thank you. I'd rather just be more an in-house type of thing for Bao after this blank thing is done. It's the last commission I ever do for anyone besides Bao, and want to make a name for myself through my own content and not really my work for others next year. So again, Bao showed up with the proof and she's showing us how
like, I understand like the perspective Sac's going through, that the name for himself thing is through his own work, but honestly I would just let Sac get credited. Let's be honest here.
delusional Redacted and Sinder were. Bao then ends this by asking, why aren't you solving this privately? And then replies, if you look at the timeline of events from Nano's document, some of those messages date back years. I found out about this less than 48 hours ago, and they did not give me common courtesy of talking to me privately about this over those years. My thoughts, feelings, my most vulnerable, darkest moments that I shared in confidence with people I thought would be by my side years and years from now may have been used as information to ruin my chances to have the same VTuber model as someone I thought was my friend, and I don't know how it can ever be the same after this. I would like to ask the community to refrain from spreading any harmful speculation. Everything shared in this document was done so with the express permission of those who shared it with me. I made this document with the intent to refute the claims made about me in the screenshots. Thank you for taking the time to read this. Yeah, what a roller coaster, right? And I just feel very bad for everyone involved in this, of course, except Sinder and Redacted, because this is a horror story. Imagine opening up to someone, thinking they're your friend, always thinking about what's best for them and not coming in their way. And then it turns out that not just recently, for years, ever since you knew them, they've only had negative things to say about you privately. That is wild, and that of course will traumatize a person. It's crazy. The VTuber Sane compiled all the different collabs and things that both Bao and Sinder worked on to really show how much of a terrible person she was talking like this behind her back. The song used in the video is a song from Sinder, I'm pretty sure, so I'm gonna mute that just in case she wants to copyright me. Here you go, look at this. They collabed so many different times and met up IRL so many times too. Like, look at this tweet from Bao. Love you, Sinder. The fact that this is your first shot at anything musically is incredible, and I can't wait to see where you go from here. That's my girl. Like, this is insane. The people who were mentioned in Bao's document made sure to confirm publicly that what she was saying was true. Her channel manager June quote tweeted the document Bao posted and said, "Hello, I'm Bao's channel manager, and yes, I was there on the call with Kaiser, Bao, and Sak, and Bao encouraged Kaiser to take the raise. It was definitely something she thought would be best for him. Bao supported any opportunity or anything that Kaiser would choose to go." Sak, who is her animator, also quote tweeted the document Bao posted and said, "Feel free to read if you want. Go show love and support to both Nano and Bao though," and linked a Google document that recounted his experiences in this entire situation. So Sak starts this document off with, "This is going to be very unorganized, but I'll try and keep this brief since I don't really think that they, Red specifically, deserve any more of my attention after hearing what they have said about me and also how working with them was." So he specifies again that he wanted to go anonymous and in-house, not because Bao forced him to, but because he wanted to. He wanted to focus on his own channel while not worrying about having to be commissioned by other people. Then he addresses what Redacted told Nanolis about him, where he says her editor met us at TwitchCon and was saying that he'd love to work with us, practically jumping through hoops to get something planned. Sak says, "When me and Sinder initially discussed working on a music video project at TwitchCon, everything was fine and friendly. However, the part that is stated as practically jumped through hoops is, well, a bit of an overstatement to say the least, since they had asked me a significant amount of times trying to get me to work with them after I told them no multiple times, and I only said yes because they offered double pay." So in this DM, you can see in September, Redacted reaching out to Sak asking, "You wouldn't happen to be available for a music video in a week or two, would you?" And Sak saying, "No, I'm completely full every day this month and earliest I could do is November 9th. Sak really tried to make it work but couldn't find any slots in his schedule. Redacted would continue asking questions. "How long does it take you to make a music video? What do you need?" And even with Sak saying multiple times, "I really can't, I'd love to, but I just can't," he says things like, "Okay, thanks though, Sak. You're missing out on a good one." Like, bro, he stated he wants to, but just can't. Redacted then keeps messaging Sak, talking to him about project specifics, asking him how long things would take him, and seeing when he's free. And then on the 12th of November 2024, Redacted messages Sak saying, "Are you available? Sorry for getting back to you so late." Sak says, "All good. I'm still 100% down to do it. I would be able to start like the first or second week of December for like mid-December release. Is that okay?" And Redacted says, "We were hoping end of November release," to which Sak says, "Oh yeah, that would be impossible for me." Sak then specifies, "Like I said, I'm still super down to do it and really hope to be able to work with Sinder on the video, but my schedule is always super packed / fully planned weeks and months ahead without much wiggle room, so just let me know what y'all would like to do or feeling." And then Redacted says, "What if we pay you double?" Sak then says, "Blank."
I need a little bit of help on this. I need to call. I'm gonna call Rolf. Let's get his opinion on this. Rolf, you're on stream. I need your opinion on this in this reaction. Okay. So, Redacted, which is Cinder's manager. Now, hold on. Let me move. Let me copy Fuji into.
Oh my god.
Oh frick! Is it what did I do? Did I mess up the stream? Did I mess up the stream? Wait. Copy. How do I copy? Here we are. No, don't worry. There is nothing there. Boom. Now you can see Rolf on the stream. Okay. So if they asked Bao's editor to pay him double to work for Sinder instead, they asked Nano, okay, to pay Nano, the artist for these VTubers, all right, to be exclusive to Sinder. Now, the videos make it sound like these are scumtagness. Now, they say it's business is just business. It's not very good, okay? This is not very good. It's very bad. But, they are willing to pay Sak, and they're willing to pay Nano. These are paid transactions to be exclusive. This does, like, I do see Cinder's perspective where this just happens all the time. Like, this is, like, I don't want to be the one that's defending Sinder here, because clearly, yeah, it's Rolf. We'll keep going, Well.
And I'll cook, to which Redacted says, you can send the invoice to blank whenever, we'll get it paid ASAP. Sack then continues in the document saying, also, I'm not sure what they're on about with Bao not knowing about me working with them, since I asked Bao with Sinder and Red standing right next to me at TwitchCon if it was fine, since I had agreed to do all the Halloween album but would probably miss one of the songs, and she had no problems with it at all. So even though this would sacrifice the music video for one of Bao's songs in her album, she still said, yes, please go ahead. I mean, Cinder is her friend, as far as she knew, right? Then Sack goes on to detail his work experience with Cinder and Redacted, saying, also, the stream was pushed back for the reason of the video wasn't done yet. Song was going up at 2 p.m. if I remember. However, this part really got under my skin due to the fact that it was just straight up not true, and if something goes wrong in the video production line, no matter who's at fault, the blame will always fall to the editor/animator pretty much every time. I'm still not sure why stream was pushed back. So it felt as if I was getting passive-aggressively blamed publicly on stream in front of thousands for the lateness really upset me, since the video was not late even under a very tight deadline where I did not even receive all the artwork until the 18th, the first full master until the 19th, and was then asked to also make a teaser version as well as an ad for the...
Do you agree, like, I don't... Look, everyone hates Cinder. I'm gonna get canceled for this. Opt in. Don't mind me, I love the drama. Okay. Rolf, do you agree that it's fine because both Sack and Nano were being paid for their exclusivity? They attempted. They said no. But there's nothing wrong to attempt. Now, the manipulation, that's not so good. Okay, that's bad. It's bad. But what they did is all fair in love and war. What do you think about that? Yeah, but they paid for the exclusive rights to that. Or they tried to. Upton, I see you here. We have a lot of drama to go through today. Yeah, but they made an offer to both Sack and Nano to be exclusive. It wasn't a threat. It was an offer to put them on a payroll. There's nothing illegal about that. It's scummy. Is it scummy? It's scummy. Scumtastic. Okay? Literally, they said, we'll pay you double. And they said no. That should have been the end of it. Anyway, you go do what you need to do. Give me a call back when you're back. We're doing... What stream thing? Like in the chat? I'm not in there. Not while I stream. You gotta call me. No. One more. We're doing H3H3 after this, so... Okay, opt-in. What did you say? Let's see. Matt, I mean, we are in a world where literally the first to pay got it. No. True. But they're making offers for exclusive rights. At least that's how I see it so far.
The end of the video for their merch on the 21st, which I was not informed of at all prior to planning. I also had skipped going home for Thanksgiving after having a family member pass to get this video done and rushed the hell out of it. The entire video was done from scratch in a little under 2 weeks, since there were quite a few both visual and audio assets I did not have at the time that even remotely resembled what the final product will sound like. So I felt like this was an attack on my work ethic, which is something I take quite a lot of pride in. I did not receive the merch assets until the 27th as well either. Even with revisions and all the extra trailers, the video was completed and delivered on time with enough time for YouTube to process the 4K version. There's probably more that I should clarify, since I'm aware this is unbelievably
a little bit of the beginning of this. I have 2 requested videos, but we're stick for this. No one's saying this isn't like this. This happens all the time in business, and they even said it at the beginning.
organized, but I'm very tired and don't feel like giving any more energy to these
Pretending
people.
to be
If there's
friends
anybody who
is
has
a little
questions for me,
scummy,
just
though.
send me a DM. So this clears up more things that were happening behind the scenes between Sack and Cinder as well as
Very
Redacted,
caca.
shows us that Bao was nothing more than an amazing friend, and also, even though Cinder and Redacted fought so hard to get Sack over, paying him double his rate, they were
Double.
terrible clients who weren't prepared, didn't know what they wanted, and still managed to make Sack look bad in front of their audience, even though he missed Thanksgiving just to get the video done
why
on
getting
time.
the
It's
hate when
overall
all
a
people does it?
terrible
Another
situation.
job, more
With all
eventually
these
into it.
See, the main thing is Cinder's manipulative. The main thing that's happening here is her and her manager only threatened to pay double after they tried to do it for free by manipulating the people. That's what's bad. And they, at least what I know, is they're treating friends as enemies. Now, I do want to say, me and my buddy Bob, we talked about this. It's you versus everyone else on streaming, okay? You're all versing for views, okay? Now, for me, I do all my editing, all my art, and everything myself, okay? Yeah, it's not really noble. So I don't worry about that. I don't give a rat's left testicle what happens because I don't got anyone working for me. She has actively became friends with other VTubers to make herself more popular and for no other reason.
Documents releasing, pressure was mounting very hard on Cinder,
But
with people demanding
it's just a
answers.
business.
So many looked up
She
to her
is
and
right.
loved her content
I mean, they are
purely
right.
because of how warm and gentle and kind of a
Upton,
person
I don't
she
know if you
portrayed
know
herself
about
on
the
streams.
Hassan
But now people were realizing this was
versus
nothing more
Ethan
than an
thing,
illusion.
but we're gonna go
Hours
over
later,
the
Cinder
content news
finally
after this.
tweeted something saying effective immediately.
people want me
Redacted
to
will
see
no
it.
longer be managing or overseeing my VTuber activities. He no longer represents me as a creator, my brand, or my intentions. I'm sorry, everyone. I will make a larger response when I'm
That's
able.
'cause they broke
So
up,
I'm sure you
probably.
wouldn't be surprised when I tell you that this response left a lot to be desired. But then another VTuber pointed out something very interesting. Vampeaches replied to that tweet and said, I remember playing Phasmophobia with you and hearing Red chat away next to you before you first debuted like 4 years ago. You told me he was your boyfriend. Then before we met for TwitchCon, you switched up and said, just so you know, my manager is coming with me on this trip, as if I didn't know who he was. It's even ickier to read this tweet knowing he is your significant other and that you're probably going to try and avoid taking responsibility for hurting people who trusted you as friends by nuking the Red side of this duo. So as everyone could have guessed, Redacted
Yeah,
is her
absolutely.
significant other.
Their
He's her
boyfriends.
boyfriend and he lives with her.
yeah,
She was fully
working
aware of
her
what he was
life
doing and approved of
too.
it.
She
And
is
yet,
right
right
to
now,
use
she was
people
throwing
just
him
need
under
to
the
be more
bus
aware
to
of
try
their
and save her
friends.
career when everyone knows.
Nano could have solved this so easily. Don't look at my VTuber mouse, okay? BM did that. It should have been so easy for Nano. When they said don't work for Bao or Cotton, my first instinct would be sending the screenshots to Bao and Cotton. F them. Screw Cinder. Right then and there. Be exclusive? You're going to pay me? No? Screenshots right then and there to Bao. Bao and Cotton would have got those this fast. Drama over. Boom. They would have handled it. They would have handled it like no one's other business. They would have handled it so fast, her ass would have been out on the street.
This is nothing more than a desperate attempt to save your
Would've been
skin without
easy.
facing any responsibility. It was a very lackluster response to an
She would've
apocalyptic
been
expose on who she is behind
real
the scenes.
humble, real
and
fast.
speaking of who she was behind the scenes, someone else came out with a document by the name of
Oh,
Rain
good.
on a topic that no one could have ever expected,
experience?
saying,
Wait, what?
fuck it. My experience with Tashi/Cinder, content warning, cheating? Dude, this just keeps getting worse. Let's look at this
Wait,
document. So this goes
wait,
back
what?
way before Cinder was even a thing. This is about Tashi, her previous persona. Things were getting so spicy, my tongue isn't working anymore. The document starts off with, hello, thank you for taking the time to read this document. The events described in it happened about 4 to 5 years ago before the first Cinder debut. I understand there will be accusations of me clout chasing by revealing them. However, I wanted to corroborate Nanoliss's assertion that she is not who she appears to be on the surface, and confirm that no matter how much damage control she does, she is just as responsible as Redacted. The first section is titled The Beginning. Cinder and I met while she was still running her Tashi.mp3 YouTube channel, which is why all the following screenshots will show her as Tashi rather than Cinder, and that will come up later. At the time, she was only starting her account, and I already had my own ASMR RP channel with 8k subscribers, and as a bigger channel than her, she couldn't wait to work with someone as talented as me. This message dates back to May
Manipulation
2020,
101.
with Tashi saying, "You'll get
Dude.
there. It's still hard for me to believe that someone so talented."
Look, I might be a deacon, but as a manager, going business to business, I have to deal and do this stuff all the time.
it's real life scenarios. This is what you have to do. Like saying, "Oh, you're talented," or you ever tell your district manager, "We're doing great here. Great job. Amazing sales. Everything is as good as God made it to be." And that's what you have to do. Common manipulation. And not only that, like these are tactics that she took. See, she took common business tactics and put them in her VTubing career. And it made her popular. Look, she is. It's that it came out. And people don't realize this is what life really is.
Likes my voice enough to want to work together. Rain continues and says, "We never ended up actually making any content together, but that didn't stop us from talking pretty much every day at the time, and eventually she found a new way to make me useful." The next section's titled, "Oh dear." Pretty much immediately she was flirting with me despite, as you can see here, having a boyfriend and both of us knowing she had a boyfriend, including regularly talking shit about him to me while telling me how great it would be if I were to replace him. What the hell? He continues, "I understand that I'm no angel in this myself, but hey, at least I can be honest about it." Oh my god. Anyway, here are the DMs. It starts off with Rain saying, "Besides, you said it's hard when your boyfriend is far, far away. I'm not your boyfriend, am I?" To which Tashi says, "No, but how nice that would be. Your perfect boyfriend material, heart."
I don't think, okay. In this case, I don't think this is cheating. I bet Redacted probably knows about this, okay? And approved of it. Because this is easy female to male manipulation to get Rain, this guy, to do something on her behalf. To help her. Because, I mean, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? Easy. Well, to be honest, it's about all the time. Just why the F would people get offended? Go get a job, you'll see that your boss and you and fire you spot on if they find better. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Rain then continues, "Oh ho, so you want to go at it behind his back? How sneaky." And then she says, "Hi honey, I've been talking to this guy about how badly I want him to fuck me since he wanted to buy a flashlight instead of giving me any attention when I'm needy." What? Rain then says, "Fucking oof, dude. Literally, why would you even need a flashlight when you have a girlfriend?" And then Tashi/Sinder replies with, "He sent me a screenshot a couple weeks ago telling me he was getting one and had the nerve to use it in front of me to show me how great it was. Wow, yeah, must be great." Rain then says, "Yo, what the fuck? That's like me inviting you to a chatterbait room so you can watch me fuck someone else in all the ways I said I want to fuck you." To which he replies with, "Isn't that great?" Rain then says, "I'm very slowly not feeling as bad for him about all this, because it did honestly leave a bit of a bad taste in my mouth that all this was happening while you were taken, but then, yeah, that's a bit, Did you tell him that was fucked up and hurtful to you?" She then replies with, "He asked me if I was okay with it, and after I explained how I felt, he told me it was too late to do anything about it because it shipped, and he kept it." Rain then says, "I mean, far be it from me to give you advice. It's your relationship, and the only ones who can decide what is and isn't okay is you two, but that just sounds really sketchy to me. And why did he ask if you're okay with it after he bought it?" Well, all I'm going to say on this is, two wrongs don't make a right. As much as I enjoy the sex thing, it's really not right if you still want to be with him. I would either try to reconcile with him and get what you need out of the relationship and step back from me a bit, or maybe consider taking a break. And I know that last part sounds fucked coming from me, but I swear on my life, I'm not being scummy about it. That's really my opinion. She then replies, "I've just been really stressed about everything, and talking to you makes me feel so much better. I don't want to lose what we have, but I'm such an awful person, I don't deserve it anyway." Rain then says, "I don't believe you're an awful person. I believe that you're stressed, you're emotional, and you're looking for something to make it better, which happened to be me when he wasn't helping. Listen, take a break from what we have just for a little bit and see if you can get something out of him first. You can't really have both of us, plus it wouldn't be very fulfilling for me to just be the other guy in this scenario and not get the full relationship experience myself. You can do it, sweetie. I believe you can, truly." She then says, "I'm so sorry. I don't know what I'd do without you." To which he says, "I'm not saying to stop talking to me completely. I'll still be right here to support you, whichever decision you end up making." And then she says, "I love you so much. I don't know how to thank you." Bro, this is so weird. This is so weird, man. Look, I'm convinced this is so...
I think this is a manipulation tactic. I do not believe, unless there is another case of it, I do not believe she was using this to cheat on him. I think this woman was doing this to get more popular. Women are smart. She was smart to gain popularity. Now it's all about if she can handle the backlash from.
some
Boom!
weird like
You got
roleplay
it right on
fantasy she
point.
has. She
You
knew
got
that
it right
Rain
on
felt
point.
really weird about this, knowing that she had a boyfriend, so she was making up this story to make him feel less guilty about cheating. That's just my theory, right? But I just find her story so unbelievable that it just can't be true. Rain then continues in the document saying, despite what was evidently nothing serious for her and just a means of keeping herself occupied, she felt the need to keep stringing me along with proclamations of real love, which again, I was silly to have believed in the first place, but
By the way,
still.
I
And it's a
was
screenshot of her
ranked,
saying,
like,
regardless, I'm
900
always going
like
to love you.
98
He then continues in the
on Twitch at
document,
one point.
for obvious reasons, I won't share any of the explicit sexting, not just because of the
was pretty
NSFW
cool.
nature of it, but also I just don't think
brought
it
it
helps.
up earlier
However,
that
note that all
Sinder
this
was
went on
ranked
for several months
474.
and included more than just
So,
text,
I
as both
mean,
the
that's
date
not
and the
too far
contents of the
away.
following
I was
screenshots
doing pretty
prove.
good.
This was in September of 2020, so months since the last DMs we saw, and it features Rain saying, I mean, it looked like something was going down there either way, and then Tashi replies with, it's called fingering, dear.
Guys, like, can we like this is a church moment. It's when you need help, you need some kind of, you gotta do something.
Oh my god. The document then continues. One reason I
gotta
felt it important
take
to
it
share
back.
these details in particular is because I never found out if Red got told about what happened,
No woman
especially not
talks
in
like
full
this. This is
lucidity.
not-
The primary
this
reason
is-
I've held
this
on to
is
all this for so long was an
manipulation
itching
altogether.
feeling that Redacted never fully knew and that always felt like it would be unnecessary drama, so I left it alone. But now seems as good a time as any. Redacted, if you're reading this, I'm sorry for all that happened back then. I really am, but given the actions you two have taken together regarding other VTubers, I still think you're perfect for each other regardless. The last section of this document is the end. After Sinder got done using me for fleeting sexual gratification, our conversation slowed down, exacerbated by the Sinder character coming into fruition and finding immediate success. I had stopped making content for a decent length of time by then, and thus, she no longer felt she could ladder climb from me. Here we can see this was a conversation mid-2021, with Tashi saying, hey, what was your exam for? I haven't been on this Discord account super often, so I missed a bit, and Rain said she made a new group chat without me. I kid, but yeah, they were the entrance exams for the uni college. Tashi said, nice, congrats on passing them. I've just been on the VTuber side of things working with commissions and whatnot. And then Rain said, what? And Sinder doesn't want to be my friend? Only Tashi does? To which she replied with, it's just easier not having multiple ongoing conversations. Rain continues in the document saying, until eventually she stopped using that account altogether and committed
once
fully
she
to Sinder,
wasn't
and I
useful
never heard
enough,
from
that
her
was
again,
it.
something I was uncannily aware would happen even back then. These are DMs from around the same time in 2021 with Rain saying, I'll message you at this time in 2022 and you won't even remember who I am, to which Tashi said, I'd never forget you. Rain then continues the document and says, and that's pretty much it. This isn't meant to be a witch hunt. We all make mistakes, including me, as I've shown in this same document.
I don't want to
but it
hear.
felt like
I
a
don't
good-
want to hear this isn't a witch hunt. You're posting this to actively discredit into witch hunt. The other woman did it too. Don't lie. Don't. It's okay. Don't lie. It's a witch hunt, and we all know it's a witch hunt. Bro failed the most old trick in the book. Exactly.
time to get off my chest things that I've been on it for half a decade now and to finally get some closure, even though I know how bad I look alongside her. She's an opportunist whenever she can find a way to be, and she does not care what happens to the people she
Absolutely an
springboards off from.
opportunist.
I can only hope she takes this as an opportunity to change and
Dude,
grow as a person,
he
and I'm just going to
figured
throw
it
this
out
one in
after
the
it
end
was
because it's
too
kind of funny
late.
for me to see in retrospect. Okay, thanks for reading. And it's a
Don't
message
forget
from
me
Tasha
when
in
you become a
2020
big
saying,
popular
don't forget about
YouTuber."
me when you become a big popular YouTuber.
But when you
know what?
became-
I didn't read this document
when
until I
you
started
became
recording,
a
and yeah, this
big
caught me by
YouTuber,
surprise.
Cinder
Wow, you know, I
forgot
wish
about
Rain
him.
had shown this a
Bro.
long time ago, so people would have known. Okay, this person's kind of
2004
weird,
now,
and maybe
the
Bao
same
and Nana
thing.
wouldn't have been backstabbed so
Bro,
goddamn
so
hard. But it does leave a bad
true.
taste in my mouth in regards to Rain as well. Releasing this information
This-
now does
yeah,
seem
this is
opportunistic
crazy.
because it seems like it's cool to hate on Cinder. In
wow,
other words, he was
unbelievable. Oh, man.
backstabbing her the same exact way she was backstabbing others right now. But speaking of backstabbing, we were slowly but surely uncovering the other people that Cinder had backstabbed because documents kept coming out. Spite, another big independent
hello,
VTuber,
Spite.
posted this on Twitter, quote tweeting Nanolist saying my experience with Cinder and attaching a Google document of her own. This is when we uncover one of the two last missing pieces of the puzzle. There are two more VTubers that were backstabbed by Cinder that were censored in Nano's original document, so which one is Spite? Well, Let's read the document. It starts off by saying, I want to start by saying, please do not send any hate to anyone involved in this. I only wish to speak about my experiences and give more clarity on those experiences. First and foremost, my love and admiration goes out to Nanolis for having the courage to bring this to light. Artists are the backbone of our community, and taking advantage of her goodwill personality is saddening to see. I want to take the time to address what has been brought to light involving myself and what I've experienced over the years that coincide with these events. In this screenshot, the Vtuber that is being talked about is very clearly me. Since the beginning of my Vtuber journey, it has been written in my backstory and lore that I'm the daughter of Cerberus, and through an unforeseen summoning mishap, the Greek goddess Hecate. As many may know, Cerberus is a species of hellhound, and I've always incorporated the number 3 in my designs to follow the 3 heads of Cerberus in my early design, and when artists were still learning new model/rigging techniques, I had opted for 2 other wolf heads on my shoulders as cauldrons to symbolically represent my 2 other heads. However, the repeated comments of, if you're a Cerberus, where are your other 2 heads, had pushed me to use the broader term hellhound at the time. Fast forward to months, to a year into my journey, and I started to receive harassment and berating comments and chat messages on Twitch and YouTube videos comparing me to Sinder and putting me down for being a hellhound. Making the definitive switch to the Cerberus label brought me a sense of relief, because the last thing I wanted was to be constantly compared or harassed at this point. I didn't want to be associated with her due to all the negativity that was being thrown my way. Then she links one of the screenshots that were included in Nano's document, in which Redacted claims that Spite unfollowed Sinder on Twitter, and this is what she has to say about it. As for the claims of unfollowing her and taking her ideas, I debuted my 2.0 Life 2D model May 14th, 2022, and on that same day, she decided to post her debut announcement for her 1.0 Life 2D model. Leading up to this time, I didn't know who Sinder was at all. I had no idea she had fire in her ears or she was another hellhound. The creator space is broad, and I still stumble across creators larger than myself that I had not heard of before. I never once stole her ideas. All I ever want is to try to be unique in my own way, so these claims that I was following her and then unfollowing and stealing her ideas...
I can't... Okay, wait. Look. I want to believe her. Okay? I want to believe this VTuber. But I'm an honest guy. Okay? I can't say that I fully believe her, because people steal crap about other people all the time. Yeah, they were both hellhounds. Like, at the same time, like, I mean, I will take benefit of the doubt, but I do have to say, still the possibility. I can't disregard this.
Are absolutely baseless and uncalled for. This is a screenshot that shows that Spite was doing her 2.0 debut on May 3rd, 2022, and 11 days later, Sinder was barely revealing her first model. She had not even done her debut yet. Spite continues in the document, saying her posting her debut announcement trailer the same day as my 2.0 debut seemed off, but I shrugged it off as a coincidence because things happen. However, this wasn't the last time something like this had happened. There have been multiple times where I have done something, and either the same day or shortly after I was made aware or had discovered later that something similar had been posted, making me feel like I was being watched constantly. I tried my best to believe that it was coincidental and not ill intent on their part. There were many times where I designed a new outfit that I was really excited for, but afterwards, Sinder would release outfits or models with similarities to it. I didn't think much of it at first, because it is normal to have some similarities or shared inspirations with other creators. The VTuber community is a huge space, and similarities are normal. I'm not speaking to whether my designs were taken as direct references for hers. I'm addressing the need for the unprovoked tweets mentioned in the screenshots above, and showing that I made the statements to make it clear that I was not stealing ideas. How can I copy something that was released/teased/revealed after my own? On July 20th, 2022, Maui Live, my model Mama, and I worked on a comfy goth girl outfit. I had rips in my shirt, a G-string, shorts, and spiked wrist cuffs. 2 weeks after, Sinder debuted a similar outfit. I included the earliest image that I could find.
Okay, but I have to admit, Sinder looks better, right? Sorry. It's good. They're very similar. We both know they're similar. This is still better. Just because inspiration, I'm giving benefit of the doubt again. China does this all the time. We don't like China, but China does it all the time. People rip off each other. It's, once again, just good business.
Of Sinder with this outfit. I received many negative comments about my design from people assuming that I copied her when I debuted it 2 weeks before hers. I got called off-brand Sinder and just a bunch of horrible things. So these are DMs with her artist saying, sounds great, I'm so happy with it, on July 20th, 2022, showing that she was working on this outfit way before the tweet that Sinder made on September 14th, 2022, asking, what do you think of my new outfit that looks very similar? Spite then continues in her document saying, I discovered this merchandise that she used for Uwu Market and had to do a double double take because of the gray-blue skin tone used in the
Always
art.
existed.
Several people thought it was me, and the
famous
similarities
painter?
for this speak for
Exactly.
themselves, I feel. So this is the design itself, and yeah, I mean, they do look pretty damn similar, not gonna lie.
No,
She
that
continues,
looks
on
pretty
April
good.
29th, 2024, I designed a Greek goddess outfit on stream. I am a Cerberus VTuber, so it fits my lore completely.
Okay,
I mentioned that I may or may not get a future Greek goddess outfit because it fits my branding. About 4 months ago, Sinder debuted a Heaven Okami-inspired outfit. It was white and gold, resembling a Greek goddess. In the background for debut, she also included Greek columns. At this point, I felt like nothing I could come up with would be even slightly original to me. I'm aware that nothing is completely original, but I still wanted my own identity. So here's the outfit that she drew on her stream, and then here is the debut stream with the new outfit that Sinder came up with. She then continues, on April 20th, 2024, I debuted a new model from my model mama, Ari VT. I got
Wait, we gotta go back. Wait. Bro. This is shameless. It's dude. Dude. But we both know Cinder didn't do this because we have she has an artist do her models for her. So she just told someone to do it like this.
drew on her stream, and then here is the debut stream with the new outfit that Sinder came up with. She then continues, on April 20th, 2024, I debuted a new model from my model mama, Ari VT. I got a hoodie with a cute design on top, and I had side bangs covering my eyes. On April 4th, 2025, so a year later, Sinder debuted a sports hoodie with side bangs covering her eyes similar to mine. Is this a coincidence, or is it truly her trying to copy everything?
Dude. Guys. What is... like... No. No. Guys. This can't be real. Like... it... needs to stop this race. Originally, nothing is original nowadays.
Thing she's doing, I don't know, I'll let you decide. She then continues, there are some instances that I do not have screenshots of. For example, I remember posting about my first ASMR stream. The day that I was supposed to do said stream, Sinder plugged her ASMR channel. I thought it was a bit suspect, but brushed it off. I don't have any screenshots of the comments and bullying that I received from her community. There were too many that it became too much to keep track of and just started ignoring them because I never wanted to save images of their words. That hurt me. I didn't even want to read the harassing comments in the first place. I just wanted to be left alone and be happy in my own space. I received a DM on January 25th, 2023. I will not disclose who the sender was without their consent. The sender expressed to me that they were getting bullied by Sinder and certain members of Sinder's community because she too had fire in her ears. I never responded to the DM because I wanted to stay away from drama as much as possible. Here's what the DM said. Hey, you popped in my feed, and can I just say I love your design? I had a rather odd question, I suppose. Have you had any messages from the VTuber Sinder regarding your design? This may seem out of nowhere, but I'm only asking because I had made an original character like a while back, and I was accused by her and others of stealing her design because my dog girl had flames in the ears, and her fans claimed that was exclusive to her design. It was this whole big ordeal on Twitter, so I wondered if anything similar had happened to you yet. I would like to clarify, I, myself, am not saying your design looks like hers. I was scrolling, sorry, totally awesome design. When I saw the flames near/in the ears, I had flashbacks and thought to myself, oh no. So I guess this is just my curiosity getting the best of me. Spite continues in her document saying, I'm just very saddened and disappointed in this situation. I had my suspicions about this, but I've never wanted to be a part of drama, so I kept quiet. I've also seen what happens when a creator stands up for themselves and receives major backlash even if they're in the right, so I've never vocalized my concerns. I've always designed my own models. I've gotten inspiration from Cerberus with the chains and spikes, Disney's Hades, and because I call myself Goth Girlfriend, I was inspired by Sam and Ember from Danny Phantom plus many other of our goth crushes that we've had growing up. I just focused on myself and my friends. Meanwhile, I had eyes on me the whole time. Knowing that I was being watched and talked poorly about really hurts, especially when they never attempted to interact with me. I did my best to go through and find what I could and get appropriate screenshots. It's crazy because I didn't know who Sinder was until she debuted her live 2D. I just wanted to exist peacefully as a VTuber and spend my time drama-free. I woke up this morning in shock. It's terrifying and hurtful to know that someone could attempt to blacklist me when I've never even spoken to them.
Listen, if you are on Twitch or on YouTube and you're an influencer, you make videos, you make stuff, You don't do drama free. My entire career, I've been streaming like 2 years now. Entire career is drama. I've been in so many controversies. You know what you do? You handle it, you get over it, you move on. Because now it's just appealing body, cute voice, mostly anime references.
I hope going forward that no one else has to experience anything like
I was
this.
gonna
Thank
make
you
a
guys for
whole
being supportive
VTuber, like
towards
a
me.
whole-
I love this community
I was
so
gonna do a
much.
whole
Please go
thing,
and give
and then
love
I
and
was like,
support to
bruh,
all those who have unfortunately been involved in this situation.
wouldn't
Please
wanna
support
look at
Nanolus,
this?
who was very brave enough
Okay.
to speak up, and the VTubers
wouldn't
who were
wanna look at all
affected.
my
Please support my
background
first
crap?
model mama, the wonderful Maui Live, and also my most recent model mama, the wholesome
Narcissism
REVT. Thank you for
101.
taking the time to read this. So as I said in the beginning of this document, this was one of the last two remaining pieces of the puzzle. Who was this Cerberus that they were so obsessed with? A VTuber they never even bothered interacting with, who had this design even before Sinder, and
Why
yet
am I
they
doing
were
reaction
completely
videos today?
and
I'm doing
utterly
reaction
obsessed with
videos
her in such
today
a weird and unhealthy
because
way.
I'm
Honestly,
doing Doom,
Spite
the
should get a
Dark
restraining
Ages
order.
tomorrow,
Like,
2
let's
days
be real
before
here.
release.
But here's the
I will
thing.
beat the
What
whole
about
game
the
tomorrow
last
or the
missing
next
piece of
day,
the
and then
puzzle?
write a
The one who
review,
was called
and my
VTuber
review will
1 in
come out the
Nano's
15th.
document. Well, this is one of the most screwed up cases
says
of this
VTuber
entire
before
incident,
was
and
just
we're
a
about to
mask
find
'cause
out
people were
why.
embarrassed
So,
and wanted
you
more
no doubt
privacy.
remember the screenshot in which Redacted was
Yeah,
trying
now
to
it's all
blacklist
sexualized.
Bao, Cotton, and a third
Oh, we're
VTuber
going
from
back to
ever
this,
being able
okay.
to commission Nano
that Fat
again.
Yoshi?
Well, we now know that this third VTuber is none other than Silverveil, yet another very big independent VTuber. Many hours after the initial statement from Nano, she quote tweeted Nano's tweet and said, "My statement on Cinder and Redacted, linking
Dude.
yet another Google Doc."
I
It
do
starts
know
off with a section
Silverveil.
titled
That is
Introduction.
one of the
I shouldn't
few
have to say
VTubers I
this,
know here.
but me putting out this statement is not a call for or an excuse for anyone to turn the situation into a witch hunt. My intention for
Dude,
making a statement
don't-
is strictly to give my
Don't say it's not a witch hunt. We all know this is a witch hunt. Every single Google Doc turns into a witch hunt. It is what's going to happen. Every single Google Doc has started with, "Oh, it's not a witch hunt." Yes, it is. Don't lie to yourself. Don't lie to the people. It's a freaking witch hunt. They all get paid to do... Yeah, exactly.
self-closure from the events of the past years and clarify how I have been personally
Here's
affected.
your
I
Google Doc.
debated if I wanted to even say anything after being asked if I wanted my name in the original document censored, as the situation is much bigger than just my personal experience. However, after finding out how wide and extensive the transgressions were, I feel the need to give clarity to my situation and how I was personally affected. I want to note, as others have, that though a majority of the messages are from Redacted, who is Cinder's manager, I find it impossible that he acted solely on his own intentions without Cinder's knowledge or consent, given the extent to which he has represented her publicly and professionally. The next section is titled Nano and VTuber 1, in which we see many messages that were already included in Nano's document, where
Silverveil
Redacted was
was
trying to convince
VTuber
Nano
1.
to go exclusive and not work with specific VTubers. As you can see, this is the message where he says you don't work with Bao, Cotton, or Silver at all again, models or art. And then Nanolist says, is there any way to add a little bit more since Silver still asks for art every now and then? To which Redacted says, we could do it like when Silver asks for art, you tell her no, and then tell us to buy another art piece, like so you still get a job from it. So they want...
Okay, here's the thing. I'm sorry, but this is fair. Redacted is doing something fair. I'm sorry. Don't cancel me. But if they're willing to pay for exclusive rights to the art and pay for another art piece for Cinder, so Silver don't get it, okay? then it's fine. They're paying for the art not to show up on Silver. Nah, no joke. I see this drama like kindergarten. Like, I'm not your friend anymore.
wanted to blacklist Silver so hard that if Silver were to ask for any commissions,
Bro, we're
Redacted
doing
and Cinder
another
were willing to
controversy
pay
after. I
money
can't-
to
I
Nano
can't
so that
wait.
she doesn't take the
I've been
job.
waiting
We also
for
get more
these
clarity, right?
controversies.
The model that Redacted was talking
This
about was
one and another
Silver's
one. We have
model.
two
The DMs
videos.
between Nano and Cinder also reveal to us much more now that Silver's name has been uncensored. Here we can see Nano saying, just wanted to let you know, I still love working with you in Red, but I'll understand if things don't work out because of Silver. I just love my clients, that's all. That was in February 2025. 5, barely 2 months ago. So this person that Sinder was saying I just get compared to her a lot even still today was Silver. And Silver had no idea this was happening behind her back. Silver then continues in her document saying, I am VTuber 1 in the screenshots provided by Nano in her document. I've been a friend and client of Nano for years, and seeing how she was manipulated and abused by Sinder and Red makes me livid. She's an absolute sweetheart and just wants her clients to be happy. It breaks my heart to see how she was treated like a tool and a resource to be used for growth rather than a talented living person and gaslit into somehow believing that how she was being treated was okay. I am so proud of Nano for having the courage to come forward to the affected people with all of this and to let everyone know how they were being unknowingly sabotaged. I've spoken to her privately and want to be clear that I have no ill will or hard feelings towards Nano for her involvement in this.
I don't want to.
I urge people reading this to try and understand the emotional manipulation on display and empathize with her situation. There's a lot I could say about how disgusting I find their behavior towards other creators in general, but I want to focus on my personal experiences. The next section gets real, and it's titled Sinder and I, and this is where she goes into the very weird relationship she had with Sinder and really revealed the depth of the backstabbing. She starts off by saying, discovering that all of this was going on behind the scenes has been gut-wrenching. I didn't know Sinder, we weren't friends, and we have barely talked. Even writing this, I do not understand what I could have possibly done to warrant the level of malice and cruelty shown. In our private interactions, I was as cordial as possible, but I just wasn't interested in associating with her professionally or being her friend. From the few uncomfortable interactions I did have with her, I had gotten the vibe that her primary goal was to climb the social and content ladder and grow her brand. I am fully aware how common that attitude is and that that's just how you grow in this sphere, but I personally don't have the emotional fortitude or bandwidth to have friendships for the express purpose of growth. For the record, I think it's fine to have that view and approach to content creation, but I also reserve the right to simply not vibe with someone. I would much rather not associate with someone at all than pretend to be their friend for the purposes of growing my brand. The only time I had actually talked to her directly was during my meet and greet at TwitchCon 2023. I had just finished my meet and greet, and as I was wrapping up, she walked directly to the screen to meet me and had someone else take a picture of us together. I was not informed of this picture or asked permission for it, and only knew about it once I saw it on Twitter later on. And as you can see, this is a tweet from Sinder back on October 20th, 2023, with her saying, "Stop by to say hi after my meet, Wolf Girls." Really making it seem like her and Silver were friends and knew each other, when that wasn't the case at all. Silver then continues, saying, after the meet and greet, she contacted my manager at Mythic to ask me to collab with her. I told him I would rather not collab, but accepted her friend request on Discord after turning her down. In private DMs, she reached out and asked me to do merch or another various form of collab to be monetized, to which I again declined. I will always prioritize my mental health and peace over any potential profit that would make me feel used transactionally and put me out of my comfort zone. So these are the DMs with her Mythic managers.
Silverveil did a collab with Smite to get a skin in there. And the mental health state for that one was atrocious. So bad that when the second set came out, she wasn't in it. So she approved the first one. I don't know if I fully believe this. I don't know, I don't know if I can fully believe what she's saying here. I mean, she doesn't need the money. I don't know. I don't know.
Cinder really loved meeting you and wanted to
this.
collab, so I told her I'd let you know, and I could throw you guys in a group chat if you were interested. To which Silverveil said, "Hello, I appreciate the sentiment, but I prefer to not do collabs." Her manager said, "No worries, hope you're having a good weekend." To which she said, "Aw, thanks, I'm trying to, just busy and lots of IRL stuff coming up, lol. Sorry for not being interested in collabs, I just like to do my own thing, but I'm always open to messages, lol. I hope you had fun at the con and everything went okay." So these are the brief DMs she had with Sinder. Silver starts off the conversation after accepting her friend request saying, "Hi." Cinder then replies with, "Hi Silver, sorry for getting back to you late. I've been super sick from TwitchCon. I guess a lot of us got sick after the last couple parties. I hope you had a good time at your meet and greet. It was nice to see you there. But yeah, no worries if you don't prefer to stream together. My manager suggested something more like sponsorships, merch, music, or some kind of other project together that maybe Mythic could help with if needed. I'd love to chat more either way." To which Silver replied with, "No worries, it's been super hectic and busy for everyone, lol. I hope you're feeling better. I'm really flattered by the persistence, but I'm just not interested in transactional relationships with anyone. I hope you can understand." So then we go back to Redacted's DMs.
She lied. This is a lie. She did one with hell, what was her name? Konako, frick. Like the pink with the sword. Schoolgirl. She was in Yakuza 8 IRL. She did a transactional relationship with her. And I believe she did another one too with Iron Mouse.
Transactional relationships with anyone, I hope you can understand. So then we go back to Redacted's DMs about Silver and we realize just how unhinged both he and Sinder were, accusing Silver of copying Sinder with that spinning figure and saying things like, oh, we just want Silver to recognize Sinder because she's a big VTuber, and typing in all caps and the marketing potential and money they could make if they teamed up. Adding, I feel like there's this unspoken competition between them, like they need to one-up each other because Silver can't get along. Bro, she literally said in the DMs she's just not interested in transactional relationships, and she was as nice as possible. I've already said this multiple times in this video, but man, this is so weird. Silver then continues in her document saying, I had a new Live 2D models in the works for my birthday with Nano, which was eventually cancelled. I was devastated as Nano was the one who originally asked if she could do this model because she was excited to make it with all the new things she had learned, and my birthday was special. At the time, the reason given was health and stress reasons, which made sense given how much was on Nano's plate, and despite my disappointment, expressed my support for her prioritizing her health. I am now aware that the actual reason for her declining to work with me on my birthday model was external pressure from Redacted and Sinder. Words cannot describe how heartbroken I was and am. She then attaches a screenshot with her and Nano in DMs, with Nano saying, Silver, I have to cancel the model commission. I'm sorry, my manager told me I have to cancel the most commissions possible for health reasons. I've been working too hard and it's getting into me. I really apologize for this inconvenience. Silver replies with, I was looking forward to it so much. I love your art so much and I've been so excited for a new model from you. I understand though. You have to prioritize your health and taking care of yourself. I hope your health improves and you feel better. Make sure to get lots of rest and relaxation. Do you know if you'll be able to do it next year at all? Don't feel pressured or anything, just asking. Nano replies with, I'm sorry, it hurts me a lot too. I just wish I could work on everything I could, but I believe I can still go for your model sometime next year. Yeah. Silver then says, that's okay. I know you have a ton on your plate and can't imagine how stressful it must be. Do you think you can still do Gamersub's tub art? And Nano says, oh yeah, illustrations are okay. And of course, they were only okay in the eyes of Redacted and Sinder, who were manipulating the hell out of her. And here Silver attaches two images that we already saw in Nano's document. And here we can see Redacted was saying, you didn't tell Silver you canceled because of Sinder, did you? What's even crazier here is that this message was completely uncensored too, in which Redacted said, well, let's see if Geary wants a Nano model or not and hope Silver finds someone else. So this is yet another content creator that was added to this mess that we weren't even aware of. Silver continues, I didn't think much of it at the time, but Cinder messaged me on Discord right before my model was canceled. She celebrated that we shared art, despite the fact that at the same time she and Redacted were actively working to take the potential for more away. Here you can see a private message from Cinder to Silver saying, hey Silver, I just got your Gamersub stuff in the mail and it looks amazing. It's so cute that we both have Nano's art on our merch since she's both our model mama. This is unhinged psychopathic behavior, bro. Does this person even feel shame? At this point, I don't think so. Silver then ends this document with a section moving forward. Cinder and Redacted have spent years sabotaging me for no understandable reason. I have never done anything to warrant this other than just existing as Silvervale. They actively sought to get my models and art cancelled, and based on the messages I have seen and shared above, seem to have not had any second thoughts about doing so. It's hard to express how crushing a feeling it is to be talked about so cruelly and maliciously without my knowing, and to know opportunities and friendships were taken away for what I can only assume is spite and insecurity. There is no end to the amount of anxiety I feel knowing that if these rumors were expressed to Nano, I have to assume they were expressed to others as well. I hope this document and the evidence presented will convince you that I'm not the person that Cinder and Redacted tried to convince people that I am. Thank you for taking the time to read this, and I hope that any and all of the people who have been affected by this can get the closure and peace that they deserve. Yeah, for the first time in this video, I'm speechless. I'm just glad that Cinder focused on VTubing and not politics, otherwise she would have become the next dictator or something. Make no mistake, this happened because Silvervale had boundaries. This happened because Cinder would not take no for an answer. This happened because she's an unhinged psychopath. With all these different documents and everyone understanding...
No. She is not an unhinged psychopath. No, you're wrong. She is doing what any business manager would do. To be number one. Your goal in this life is to be number one. Not psychopathic. This is not psychopathic behavior. This is tactical manipulation, tactical prudence. And do you want to set up with someone more popular than you? Like Silver? Boom. Tactical. Totally understandable. Absolutely. Upton, you're right.
The real nature of who Cinder was, her career was effectively burning to cinders. Sorry about that. People were very patiently waiting for a more complete statement. So after losing over 10,000 followers and waiting more than 24 hours, she finally just published it 6 minutes ago. My apology. Let's see if this can actually save her career.
All right.
Sinder starts off by saying, "There's nothing I can say to make this better, but I will try my best to properly convey my feelings, frustrations, and mistakes. I'd like to explain my point of view and apologize to each party affected. Redacted has been my co-content creator since I began making content, managing all aspects of what I do, and being a major part of why I'm here. We have also been in a relationship since the start of my endeavors. It's no secret that many VTubers choose to keep their public and personal lives separate, and I'm no different. As of yesterday, he is no longer working with me, and I have not extensively discussed any of this with him. Where our personal situation goes from here will be figured out between us privately. I never intended to mention us publicly, but given that the claims are out there, I want everyone to know I'm taking this seriously. After years of working on everything together, his hyper-business-oriented outlook warped my view of what it is I should be doing, and what should be important to me as I navigate this career path. I have a terrible work-life balance as it is, and being around projects and streams all day every day made me lose sight of the point. It took all of this happening for me to realize this behavior isn't normal or healthy, and it's not an outlook I want to have. This doesn't absolve me of the things I've willingly done wrong and went along with, or the way I've treated people who were fully undeserving. Guys, right off the bat, it's not looking good, okay? This is not going to change much if the rest of the apology is looking like this. But anyway, she continues, in regards to Nanoless, for the majority of the time working with her, Red was the one almost solely doing the communication about new plans and negotiations through his private DMs. Nano had a project server we were all a part of where the actual art and models were worked on, but the conversations were focused around the work itself. I was not fully aware of the extent of Red's manipulation over Nano's commission decisions, and I should have been more diligent in my oversight. Every time I had been told that Nano had agreed to work on a new commission with me, it had been willingly and with excitement. From my point of view, it was that she genuinely wanted to be working on these things. I wanted to work with Nano as much as I possibly could, making her art the face of my brand. We had come to the conclusion that it would be in my best interest to talk with Nano about making more time for my projects by negotiating with her to cut out other work. This was wrong for us to push onto her, and it was wrong to the other creators who wanted the chance of working with her. There was only one specific creator we were responsible for naming and pressuring Nano into reconsidering projects with, not an entire list. Of her own volition, Nano canceled a large portion of her model commissions last September. However, the claim that I was just using her is wrong. Wait, no, this is completely undermining what actually happened. Redacted pressured Nano to not work with Bao, Cotton, Silver, and there was even mention of Geary in there. And let's not forget that more recently, Shy Lily was included in there too. So for Sinder to say Nano canceled these of her own volition is wild, seeing that they manipulated her into doing so. Anyway, she continues, I've always treated Nano with respect, and as my friend, I did give her a lot of work, and we did everything we could to accommodate her schedule if she needed more time or a break, and even helped her with her own project payments multiple times. I've invited her on my stream, I've sent her my merch and things she's made for me, and I was always open to talking to her about things outside of our projects. In the instances we would message each other. Regarding the exclusivity deal made between them, I had no part in the direct negotiations of their eventual agreement, and I had no knowledge of Bao and Cotton being included in this list. If I had known my friends were included, I would have said something to put a stop to it. I was only aware of it being about one person who I was unfairly pursuing. When Nano had messaged me about this agreement almost a month later, I was under the impression this was only about Silvervale. I was upset, and my initial messages to her were very guilt-tripping, but I wasn't going to force Nano to do anything she wasn't okay with, and tried reassuring her that I was okay with her decision. Nano had also never come to me as seriously and professionally as her document was looking to address the issues she had with either of us or to terminate our partnership. I had no idea there was even a conversation about Shy Lily recently between Red and Nano until reading her document. It's true I had confided in Red that lately I hadn't been hearing from Lily like I had in the past and was worried something was wrong, but that's as far as it went, and he took it upon himself to try digging for more info. And I was never even aware Nano was ever planning to work on a model for another one of my friends, Geary. I do not condone anything about what Red said about Bao in these DMs either, and him using we and our in this context is abhorrently incorrect and I believe was done to gain greater credibility behind what he was saying. Yes, Red and I were initially upset when Bao hired my editor, and I took it personally when I shouldn't have. I felt as if maybe my content wasn't good enough or like I wasn't paying enough for his work, but I accepted it and was happy for him for getting that bag and supporting one of my friends at the same time. I don't know, at this point, these things are very hard to believe. If she confided in Red how pissed she was, She's admitting that yes, she was pissed and she confided in Red. Red then used this information to add them to the blacklist. But regardless, those feelings are not things you're meant to feel towards friends. Anyway, she continues and she says, and yes, I was also upset when Sack, the Boss Rush music video editor, had told us that he won't be working on any future project with us and would instead be working exclusively for Bao. But Red got it in his head that it was Bao's fault that it happened and seemingly held a grudge against her for it. He was very passionate about Boss Rush and the potential future projects around it, but he told me about a music video editor as talented as Sack. The future projects wouldn't reach the same heights, so he created this headcanon that's laid out in those DMs. I wasn't convinced this was the case, but it's my fault for never speaking with Bao about these things directly to clear things up and letting it spiral to the point it got to.
Dude,
every comment here about her own music, guilt-tripping, and claims about our shared feelings towards her are disgusting, and I honestly don't know why you thought this way about my close friend beyond the resentment over those two things or why it was worth sabotaging her over. Like again, if you had the time to confide how pissed you were about this to Red, you could have messaged Bao to clear things up. Assuming you had no idea what Red did, it's still kind of a problem that you didn't want to clear this up in one DM. She goes on to say, the "it's just business" screenshot of my DMs with Nano's document was from November of 2023. And I'll go into my thought process of everything I said here. What Red was trying to explain to Nano is that if everyone has a model by her, then the innate value of her models overall are diminished by there being an oversaturation of that type of model out there. If everyone in the world had a VTuber model done by her, then the value of having her model wouldn't be the same as if there were only a handful of them, which she viewed as a negative for me. I understand where he was coming from with this, but in the VTuber space, this isn't something we should have pursued, so I was never upset seeing new model siblings. In many cases, I was there cheering them on at their debuts, and looking to collab with them as sisters when I could. Oh, you mean how you met up with Silver at TwitchCon, cheered that you guys are both wolf sisters, and then stabbed her in the back? Yeah, that makes sense. She continues and says, me saying it's just business was referring to my acceptance of Nano's business decisions whether she chose to work with me or not. This was not in reference to anyone's model being cancelled, further explaining to her that it's okay if she chooses not to work with me. I can understand where the next part can sound manipulative, but my intention was to reminisce about the journey we had together up to this point, since at this time I wasn't sure if this is where Nano and I would stop working together as frequently as we had been, and I'd have to look for a new model artist. I then encouraged her to work on projects she's excited about while I talk with Red to find a project that would work with her schedule. That's definitely looking at things with the perspective of best case scenario. Like, I want to believe that's the case, but with how Red was talking, it just makes it very hard to believe. She continues, when talking about Silvervale, I need to start at the beginning. Before I was Sinder, I was a pink cherry blossom girl named Tashi that did ASMR content. When the VTuber boom happened in 2020, I knew I wanted to join in. Red and I contacted an artist in October and they were set to start my VTuber design by December. The plan was to take my cherry blossom persona Tashi and make her a pink and white wolf girl VTuber. In November of that same year, Silvervale revealed her Sakura wolf redesign. I had heard of Silvervale earlier that year, but I didn't watch her streams at all. We knew we had to pivot before we were stuck with a design that would just be a copy of one of the most popular VTubers at the time. Like I've explained many times on my stream, I knew I wanted to be a wolf girl, so I mixed my love of Okami and metal music into the design and came out with a hellhound. My name was originally going to be Ember, but Red came up with the name Sinder since it was a mix of Sin and Cinder, both hell and fire themed. It was only a coincidence that it ended up being similar to Silver. I was genuinely interested in pursuing a friendship with her and drew fan art myself of us together. See, that would be considered wholesome, but then teeters on the borderline of being a stalker when we know how hard she tried to be friends with her and then ended up backstabbing her. She continues, on the other hand, Red was in my ear the whole time saying how great working together would be since again he's been the business-oriented side of my brand. Since I started streaming, I have been ruthlessly compared to Silvervale, being called the discount version of her. I was accused of copying her design, copying her personality, and even copying her laugh of all things. And there was a large number of people who were diehard believers in the fact that I stole all of these attributes maliciously for my own gain, citing the art I posted of us together, calling her an inspiration, when in reality this was referring to the decision to become a hellhound. The only time Silvervale was mentioned in the original designing of my character was when we explained why we were pivoting to something else, and there were no references of her character involved. I grew more and more resentful of Silver over time between the constant belittling of myself, a controversy around my first waifu cup, and other incidents, even though she herself never interacted with me directly. And it was also that fact that made me insecure, like I wanted to know if she believed all these things or not. It really felt as if she didn't like that I even existed in the same space. So at the point I was working with Nano consistently, recently we brought up not making any more models for her. If a VTuber model is how everyone recognizes you, then it'd be harder to compare us directly if we no longer look alike or have that shared similarity. It was a wrong and selfish decision.
Okay, wait,
but it made
she
me
said
feel
it was
better,
wrong and
that's why it
selfish.
was a constant topic with Nano. Red pushed for this harder than I ever did because he knew how it affected me for years, but no matter what the outcome was, I wasn't going to walk away from working with Nano. Silver was completely undeserving of this treatment, and it was my own insecurities that led me to making this choice. I became unapologetically evil towards her due
But
to
we
no
already know
direct
she's a
action of her own.
manipulator,
There's no
so
excuse
Bonzo,
for
she's
any of
just
this. It's
manipulating
interesting,
the
right? Because
people.
that's exactly how she made Spite feel. And even though that was the case, she never went out publicly to say, hey guys, stop harassing her. This idea of a VTuber copying another has been a problem in the VTubing sphere for a long time, and that's the community's
just
fault.
wanted
But I
money.
personally don't
Yeah,
like how
exactly.
often Sinder
Yeah,
is
but too
throwing Red
often.
under the bus.
Sin-
Even here, saying Red
Cinder
pushed for
was
this harder than I
offering to
ever
pay
did.
him double.
Yeah, so what? You were aware
pay-
of this, and
pay
you were
her
pushing it in
double.
DMs with Nano too,
Nano
so it
could've
doesn't
got
matter whether
double
he
what
did or not.
he
Like,
would-
I
she
wonder,
would've
we're
made
not
by
even
not
halfway through.
making
Is she
art.
still gonna push this narrative that Red was doing the majority of this, and I was on the sidelines, but I'm still sorry? It's like, no, no, you were very much aware. She continues, moving on from Silvervale, let me talk about Spite. Once again, I had no involvement or knowledge of Red bringing up Spite to Nano in 2023. My only personal involvement with excluding someone specific from working with Nano was Silver. My design sheet and outfit were finished and made public at the very start of 2021. The first thing she mentions is a debut teaser in 2022 that was apparently posted on the same day as her original debut, which I honestly don't know if at the time this was intentional or not. I don't know when I first discovered Spite, and it could have been after she debuted. When I first debuted, I was very possessive of my design details. I had made it a year and a half since my design sheet was finished and public to having a full VTuber debut as I watched everything grow and change from the sidelines, and I didn't want anyone else to capitalize on my concept before I could. Soon after my original debut, I remember Spite getting an update to her model that made it seem like she more closely resembled me, including fire added to her model. Without evidence,
Okay.
I saw it and thought she must have copied me, but I never did anything about it other than voice my frustrations to Red. I didn't want to start drama with anyone, and I didn't have ownership over fire as a design detail. The references for the ripped shirt and shorts outfit on my bikini model was given to Nano in June of 2022 with the purpose of having a cover-up outfit that would be safe for Twitch. The merch art she's referring to was designed around my concept of fire changing blue. The fact that the rest of the art was grayscale was the artist's choice since it was going onto the back of a hoodie and I didn't have a say, or at least I didn't counter that being the final decision. There was no intention to deliberately look like Spite with this piece. Unfortunately, both my Angel and Sleepy outfits being similar to outfits Spite has done in the past was just a coincidence. I had always planned to one day make an Angel counterpart to my Demon outfit when it was being made in 2023, and my original ref sheet laid the groundwork for that idea. I've never liked theming anything around my brand in a religious light, so I chose to make my Angel form more Greek Valkyrie than biblical, which also gives it a similar look to my Demon form. The Sleepy outfit was a last-minute decision to pivot from a fully new 3.0 model because I had the opportunity to work with gamer subs on an AFK flavor. Spite never should have received the hate comments over her outfit or any comments comparing us or belittling her because of my existence, and I never advocated for anyone to do so, especially given my experience. In regards to Spite, I'll let you decide. Was it a coincidence that so many outfits matched each other? And is it a coincidence that every time Sinder complained about anything to Red, he would make it personal? Anyway, she continues. Spite also brought up another creator who reached out to her about their experience with me, and I can only assume it's Niantails. They are an ASMR artist who at one point posted a Hellhound original character for one of their upcoming ASMR videos, and it was undoubtedly created using me as a reference. This was right after my debut, and like I said, I was very protective of my design elements being unique to me and I overreacted. Shortly after, I apologized and they agreed to adjust the character design, and I thought the matter was settled. At the very start of my online career, I was a girlfriend experienced ASMR artist. Before I started my channel, I had gotten into listening to roleplay audios myself. I had always been a shut-in throughout high school and college, and I wasn't happy with where my life and relationship were at the time. After uploading my first few audios, my channel started growing fast. This was the first time I was inundated with so many people wanting to know me and talk to me, and I got lost in the excitement of it all, not fully coming to terms with these messages being because of the kind of content I was making. I was immature and
don't know
inexperienced with how to conduct
why-
myself online. I
don't
have
know
never had many
why
IRL friends and had met Rain doing ASMR. I quickly
this
became
became
comfortable
public
chatting with him
drama
about
to joke.
everything,
If you're a
divulging my
VTuber,
grievances
just
about my
one
personal
crazy
life when I
YouTuber,
shouldn't have. I cheated on my
you
boyfriend
just
with Rain in these
search someone
conversations,
else.
flirting
I
and
can give her
sexting. I used Rain
that
for emotional comfort and sexual
copying
fantasy
thing.
while I let my
Everyone
real-life
used
relationship
Nano, of course,
collapse. It
everyone
was
would
about
have
my
some similar
dissatisfaction with my
themes.
personal life and
Nano
escaping
being
into
busy
messages with
would
someone
like
else who I
great
found through
activity
content
because
focused
of
around
that.
girlfriend and boyfriend RP. It was never about climbing the ladder with Rain, and I find that being his takeaway from why I moved on baffling. By the time I was ready to debut as Sinder, I wanted to leave that in the past. Still, to this day I regret my decisions and have been living with it since, and I was lucky to be able to mend my relationship after this. So she confirmed she cheated, and Red was fully aware, at least as far as we know. Yeah, maybe Rain did have the wrong conclusion here. Maybe she actually moved on because she wanted to leave this part of her life behind, sure. But did she cheat? Yeah. She then continues and says, and lastly, I want to address Peaches. This is a very big problem I have, and I'm sure many others in my position do too. At the end of the day, I am one person. I am one person working on multiple projects with multiple companies, talking to dozens of people, and streaming for hours almost every day. I've never had a big social battery, and I get tired very easily when interacting with people. I haven't had much energy at all over the past year, leading to me taking frequent naps. I've rarely been able to keep up with my closest handful of friends on a frequent basis, let alone everyone else. Red has always been a big help in keeping up with things, but he doesn't do everything. I'm so sorry I made you feel forgotten, Peaches. I've always cherished your friendship, and I was so incredibly excited to meet you in Paris. I'm so grateful for everything you've done for me, and I've never thought to purposefully drop you just because I could. I'm sorry, I know I've made a lot of people feel forgotten or ignored. It's so easy to get caught up in projects or what I'm doing while I have the energy to do it that people fall by the wayside. I understand the feelings of those who resent me over this, and all I can say is I'm sorry. I don't deserve to be able to contact everyone involved directly to personally apologize, so I'll do it here in the chance they read it. So before we get into the individual apologies, I just want to clarify, Peaches means Van Peaches. This is the same VTuber who called her out for having a boyfriend and trying to hide it from her, as if they didn't know each other. Now let's get into the individual apologies, starting with to Nano. I'm sorry I let things get to this point or even entertain the thought of you working exclusively with me. That's not fair to you. I wouldn't be here without you, and I wouldn't have been able to do most of what I've already done without you. I felt overly attached to our relationship over the past 4 years and loved your work so much that I wanted to make myself exclusive to your art and should have never sought those feelings to be reciprocated. Everything you've ever worked on for me was always so perfect, and I lost sight of how everyone else around me would have felt. I had no intentions of pressuring you into anything, but looking back on my clouded judgment, I can see how my messages felt that way. When I talked about how my models helped you improve, I meant that as looking back on how far we've come together. We've been friends for so long and cheered each other on when we both started growing and getting more opportunities like plushies, figures, etc. You had been my exclusive artist for full life 2D models for the majority of my time as a VTuber, and of course I would have been sad if you didn't want to continue that relationship, but in all our private DMs, I was okay with you ultimately doing what was best for yourself. I saw you as someone I trusted and loved and wanted to make sure you were still taking care of yourself with all the projects you took on, mine or otherwise. I never saw you as just a business partner. I thought I was reassuring you that I'd always be understanding if you wanted to move on to other projects. I genuinely appreciated our friendship. I always saw you as a close friend, and I'm sorry for what I put you through. To Bao, since the start, I've always admired you and how genuine you've always been to everyone. I wouldn't be here without you either. I'm disgusted with myself for buying into the narrative that my friends were competition. I've never had such genuine friendships in my life, especially with you. We've gotten to know each other so well online and in person. You've already been through so much, and the last thing I'd want to do is cause more harm.
Dude, she's
trying to save face,
but I did. Dude. I'm sorry for not reaching out sooner about these ideas that were put into my head. I wish we would have been able to talk about this too. I didn't know about the severity of things that had been said and theorized about my own friends behind my back until now. It's my fault for not realizing the things Red was saying about you. The countless friendships I've made here within the last several years mean so much more to me than him and the business side of things. Wait, did you just say the countless friendships I've made here within the last several years mean so much more to me than him and the business side of things? Like the friendships mean more to you than your boyfriend? Or did you just write this like in a non-clear way? Anyway, no amount of popularity or money means more to me than the relationships I've built in this community. I've always been myself, whether that be on stream or in person, and I hope the friends I made can understand I never condone this behavior or any of the things that were said about my friends. I've always wanted everyone around me to thrive and find happiness. I can't stress enough how disappointed I am that I didn't see this sooner until it got to a breaking point. I'm sorry, Bao. After all these documents and these different people and their perspectives and their points of views, is there a single word that you believe in this paragraph? Let me know in the comments. Next up we have to Sack. I loved getting to chat with you in person and absolutely loved all the hard work you put into the Boss Rush song. I was so grateful to hear you were on board to edit the music video. I don't remember exactly why the stream got pushed back, but I definitely wouldn't have put the blame on you knowing about how soon the deadline was when you started working on it. I was so thankful for your willingness to complete the project despite everything, and the quality of how it turned out was incredible. I can't believe how Red talked about you, especially after all the effort you put in for me. I'm so sorry for everything that's happened. Next up we have to Cotton and Shy Lily. They don't get individual apologies, they got grouped up together. Anyway, she says, I'm so sorry you had to get dragged into this. It's my fault I let it get this far, but I hope you can believe me when I say I had no knowledge of Red bringing you up in Nano's DMs. I just learned about all this myself, and there could have been so many other friends affected by the narrative that things always had to be competitive. If I knew Red was trying to exclude specific friends in this exclusivity deal, I would have spoken up. None of my friendships are worth sacrificing over an art piece. I love being your friend and all the memories we've shared, and I hope someday you can forgive me for allowing this to happen. Next up we have to Silver. Since the start, I loved that I saw someone else sharing so many similarities similar interests to me, and I
didn't
thought
even
maybe
know,
someday we
like,
could talk
who
about
you
it all and be
were.
good friends. I was blinded by all these
Don't
hate
even,
comments around me
like,
calling me your
don't-
lesser half. I
don't
hate the
do
person
this.
I've become
Cinder
towards
doesn't
you.
give
I
a-
tried reaching
Cinder
out some
doesn't
time
give a
ago to
crap
try to start up
about
a friendly
this.
conversation to change things and make things right,
Cinder's,
say hi to you at
like,
conventions
hell
and support
and
your
high water
endeavors,
more
but
popular
despite all
than
that,
you.
I was still being eaten alive by my own doubts and
I-
fear or harassment. I was pressured by the community as a whole to try reaching out to collaborate since I got these messages so
It's
often
not
comparing
noble,
us, and I hoped we could work something out. The photo of me at the meet and greet was taken candidly and I thought it looked cute, and I posted it without asking you, which was wrong of me. I was so wrong
She
for
is
letting
by
everyone get
herself
in my
while all
head
the
about
other
all these
did
malicious
Google
feelings. I'm
Docs
so
on
sorry
her-
for any
on
opportunities
her
I've taken
calling
away
it
from you.
not a
I'm
witch
sorry,
hunt.
Silver. Then we have the shortest
They all
apology in the
said
entire
not a
document.
witch hunt,
To spite.
bro.
I'm sorry I had
Every
assumed
single
things about your
person
design
said
that
not
weren't
a
true,
witch
and I'm
hunt.
sorry you've been harassed by commenters needing
That's
to compare us.
crazy.
And I apologize for the way Red spoke about you to Nano. You didn't deserve any of this spite. I'm sorry. Next up, we have
Yeah,
Van
you're
Peaches.
sorry.
Two
Yeah,
Peaches.
okay.
I'm sorry if I made it seem like I was ignoring or ghosting you. I was so happy we had the opportunity to meet in person, and I was apologetic with how busy things were for me at the time. I wanted to spend more time with you, but as I got more and more DMs and messages, everything became so overwhelming. I've always had a low social battery, and that made it so hard for me to keep up to date with all my friends. I've never had
who's
any ill feelings
Peaches?
towards you, and I still don't. Next up, we have Rain. To Rain. You were the first person I met as an ASMR artist during a time where I was immature and vulnerable. I ended up being consumed by the content I was making, and it led me to making awful decisions
I
I
don't
still
even know
think
who
about and
Peaches is.
regret. I was not in a good spot at the time. I've hated myself for this kind of behavior, and it took a long time for me to move on from what happened. I have no excuses.
No,
I'm sorry you were
no,
dragged into my
no,
drama, and I'm sorry how I
no,
made you feel after I just wanted to close the book on things.
No, this is a lie. No, she was manipulating Rain to get more popular. Just say it. Just say it like it is, okay? Just say it like it is. No.
Finally, she says, I'm sorry to my Pyro Pups and my mods for expecting me to lead a better example than this. I'm sorry to the Vtuber community for looking towards me as someone to aspire to. I'm sorry to Kaiser, who's put his heart and soul into
I
everything he's ever
aspire
done
to
for
be
me
like
and not
you,
even
Sinder.
talking to
Don't
you about how
worry,
I
it's
felt.
okay.
I'm sorry to the dozens of artists that
At
have
least
put their
you
hard
weren't
work into
mentally
me, and I'm
retarded
sorry
like
to the rest
some
of my
people.
friends
You
who I've
actually
let
put
down. I've led a
effort
bad example, and
into
I don't
getting
expect
popular.
forgiveness. I've made many mistakes over my 5 years on the internet, and I'm only one person living the one life I get for the first and only time, like everyone else. As I said at the start, I ended up developing an extremely unhealthy work-life balance, and the harm Red has caused with the way he viewed things is irreparable. The way I've been perceiving things lately is not how I want to view the world moving forward, and this goes to show there's a lot I need to address and improve if I'm going to continue being a creator. I'm devastated that the friendship so special to me may understandably never be mended again. I love my job, and I love all the friends I've had. Thank you for reading. Signed, Cinder. Woo! What a read. My voice is almost gone. What did I get out of this? Well, it was kind of what I was expecting. There's nothing she can really say that can repair what happened. Sure, Redacted was her manager, he was doing the talking for her, and even if we were to believe her and give her the benefit of the doubt 100%, we still have proof, and she admitted that she was purposefully targeting Silver. All of this was also happening over the last couple of years, maybe even a bit longer. This isn't just about her not being aware and Red being the guy who did all of this by himself. This is about how she's the boss, Red is her manager, and in any other industry, this would be considered gross negligence. Just imagine with me for a second, if Nano didn't make her document, then how long would this have carried on? I get goosebumps just thinking about it. Like, this is ridiculous. And it's actually very easy to shut down all her excuses. She was there when Bao showed her the model that Nano was working on. Throughout this entire document, she kept saying how Nano was more than just an artist. She was her friend. She loved her. When Bao vented to her and her friends in the group chat that the model was cancelled, a true friend would have messaged Nano, asked what was going on. A true friend would have reassured Bao, seen how they could help, but she didn't do any of this as if she was already planning it to begin with, and guess what? She was. Throwing your boyfriend under the bus for everything is just not gonna cut it. Other VTubers, especially the ones mentioned in the document, thought the same thing, so they made sure to publicly reply. When she saw her response, Bao replied almost immediately saying, How can you say you didn't know? I showed you both my base model sketch from Nano at WeebCon. We walked on stage and performed together. You were in the group chat where I shared my sadness over Nano suddenly canceling my model after we were so close to begin Live 2D and rigging. And to now find out that just the day before I shared my sadness, this is the conversation that happened that ruined months of debut prep, planning, merch preparation. If you want to apologize to me, please do it properly and stop hiding behind Red. Bao attaching the 2 screenshots
Wait,
we already
wait,
saw
she
in Nano's
did know?
document and a new
Wait, she
screenshot
did
showing
know
the
one
group
day?
chat where she vented about Nano dropping
Girly
her.
pop.
It's just not
Dude!
adding up. This apology
Dude, she
is
knew
only
a
making
day
things
before
worse and even
didn't
weirder
post
for
it?
Sinder.
Wait a second.
Shy Lily
She
replied
did
to this
know a day
apology,
before.
and here's what she had to say. The absolute audacity to sit here and continue to manipulate and gaslight is absolute insanity. The pain
Wait.
and mental torment you've caused to the ones closest and most
Well, okay,
supportive
this
of you
one's
has been
emotional,
devastating, and I have
really.
never been so heartbroken and hurt so badly for my friends. You are the fakest person I've ever had the displeasure of supporting, reading and hearing of how you've really viewed me behind my back, not just through screenshots of your man, but also your very own messages, while having to sit here and read through these bullshit lies you spin makes me want to vomit. To claim that you didn't know a single thing and had zero awareness of what your
Dude,
man was up to,
Shy
and everyone
Lily
who shared even a
tearing her
single
a
moment
new
with you
one.
knows that you basically
What is
operate as the same
happening
person,
here?
sharing every waking moment while loving to jump at the slightest opportunity to turn into your most slanderous self as soon as the opportunity was given, even when talking about your friends, is sickening. I have experienced your own actions without red, in a situation where in your own screenshotted words you express a pressure to live up to what Lily is, and proceeded to throw one of your most loyal and supportive friends under the bus after months of continuous planning just because you consistently chose business over friends, never feeling bad for failing them. Just to earn the bag and compete with me over a V-Card collab that you rescheduled to be on the exact date your friend needed you to keep an important promise. You actively lied about it to them, instead blaming me for a collab you rescheduled, adding me to the pool of excuses to save your ass when you realized you were being a bad friend. Why blame me for choosing to miss an obligation you agreed to on one of the most important days in that friend's career? Everything you do is out of competition through your constant need to one-up people who are the sole reason you even have these opportunities and platforms to earn from to begin with. You're welcome, by the way. You claim that it's just business. Well, in the business world, there has to be accountability, and all you've done is try to shove it away and admit nothing. In true narcissistic fashion, you're only feeling sorry about yourself and your own consequences in your career and try to salvage it. I'm sorry for everyone who looked up to you as an inspiration, and I'm especially sorry for your fans. Pyropups deserve better. Wow. You know, Shy Lily typically avoids drama even when there's her name involved. She avoids it. She never gives it any attention, but this time, not only did she have something to say, she gave out a career-ending statement, bro. And speaking of career-ending, Cinder's post has almost as many comments as likes, with many people expressing their discontent. The most liked reply here is BuffPup saying, "Dude, f*** off." And as you can see, some of the biggest independent VTubers on the planet are here saying how disappointed they are, while simultaneously not being in the slightest convinced by anything in this quote-unquote apology of hers. It's a disaster. But you would be gravely mistaken if you thought this was the end. No, this incident is the gift that keeps on giving. Aru, the literal ass behind the Invisible Woman in Marvel Rivals. Yeah, I'm not even kidding. They actually used her as reference. But more importantly, she's a streamer and content creator who used to be a VTuber and is on friendly terms with Silvervale. She revealed to us after Cinder's catastrophic apology that her weird obsessive/stalker behavior towards Silvervale didn't start in 2023. This went on for way longer, and she tried to use Aru to get to her. Here's what she had to say in her statement. "I hadn't planned on tweeting anything about this until I saw Cinder's apology. While I wasn't hurt to the extent others were, it's clear now that I was lied to and used, not treated as a friend, but as a tool. I first met Cinder during a Twitch Rivals tournament and really looked up to her. We hit it off, messaged a lot, and got even closer at TwitchCon 2022, where I spent most of the day with her and Red. At one point, she noticed I was mutuals with Silvervale, someone I admired since meeting her at PAX, and asked if I could introduce her. I thought she was just a fan like I was. Cinder invited me to go with her to Silvervale's meet and greet, and it meant a lot to me. As someone who didn't grow up with many social invitations due to being homeschooled in a foreign country, that gesture felt special. But looking back, I realized she only invited me because she thought I could give her access to Silvervale. After I introduced them, Cinder pushed me to ask Silvervale for a collab. I'm someone who rarely initiates collabs. I prefer to build friendships off-stream first or let things happen naturally. Still, I went out of my comfort zone to help because I believed she genuinely admired Silvervale. Now I know that wasn't true, and realizing she actually harbored resentment the whole time makes me feel completely used. I wasn't a person to her, just a connection. I did message Silvervale about the collab the first time, but when Cinder followed up again, I brushed it off because I didn't want to pressure her. Over time, I started noticing that Cinder didn't treat me like a real friend, more like a means to an end. Sometimes she made it clear IRL that she didn't even like me, and I can't help but think it's because I didn't push harder for the collab. By 2023, our interactions had nearly stopped. Still, I tried to keep things friendly in DM/IRL because I didn't know how to stand up for myself or set boundaries. Don't worry, even if you set boundaries, she would have still found a way to backstab you, right? Look at Silvervale. Anyway, She continues,
Bro,
that's
this-
changed now for obvious
this
reasons.
woman
It's hard to
is a
say, but Cinder's apology doesn't feel
master
genuine,
manipulator. This is a
especially not
master
towards
class.
Silvervale. The truth
kind
is,
of
Cinder isn't the
impressive
only one
Cinder
who
went
makes
all
others in
this
this
way to
space
try to
feel
make
used or
things
small.
happen.
People like her, Yaki, and others made me
The
feel that
thing
the best
is,
choice
I
for myself
bet
was to step
Silvervale
away from
probably
VTubing
would've
entirely and made me
collabed
afraid to
like
build new
this
connections.
if
But as I said yesterday,
part
there
of this
are
story
good people
didn't
in this
happen.
space, and they're the ones
'Cause I
worth
bet
holding
Silver
on to. Don't let the bad
probably
ones stop you from being your
the
genuine
whole
self.
thing was
To my
to,
community, I think I'd like to try
collab
coming
with
back to
Silver
VTubing.
over
When we
this.
talked about it last night, hearing how much all of you love the VTubing streams honestly hit me hard. It made me sad to realize I gave up on something I loved just because of the shitty, awful people who poisoned the space for me. To the friends I pulled away from because I was trying to protect my peace, I'm sorry. I'd love the chance to reconnect and rebuild those friendships. I started VTubing because I believed in the joy and creativity of this community. It's heartbreaking to see that spirit dimmed by people who take advantage of others' kindness, hold them accountable, call it out. What I went through wasn't nearly as intense as what Nanoless experienced, but I do understand how hard it is to say no to a friend, especially when they make you feel like you're the only one who can help. I truly hope everyone affected by Cinder can heal and move forward, and I'm sorry for any negativity this situation has brought up from my side as well. She then links 3 different images of DMs between her and Cinder. The first image is from 2022, and it's Cinder starting off the conversation saying, would you want to come meet Silvervale with me at 2:30 p.m.? Aru then says, of course, I'll go with you, to which Cinder says, I'm just really nervous and I think I remember you meeting her before. Dude, she is so sneaky. Aru then says, yes, I've met her, oh my god, she's so nice, don't worry. To which Cinder said, you're the best, oh my god. Aru said, that's you, what time do you want to meet up? Cinder said, whenever you're free, and Aru said, okay, I'll be free in 10. In the next image, a few days have passed, and it's Cinder saying, were you still thinking about messaging Silvervale about a wolf girl chat? I'm not sure if she'd really want to, but I'd love to do more with you anyway. We should plan our spooky collab when we've recovered from this weekend. Aru then says, yes, let me message her and ask if that's okay. Yes, I agree, let's plan something. Cinder then says, we can wait a bit if you're still recovering, but if you had a day/time in mind, just let me know. My schedule's pretty open right now. I know I'm pooped from this weekend, but I want to do lots with my friends still, to which Aru said, sounds like she would be down to play games together once her schedule clears up. In the third image, we see DMs between Aru and Silvervale, with Silver saying, hi, it was amazing seeing you too. Aru then says, I was wondering if you'd ever be down to play some games off stream if had time. Totally understandable if you're too busy though. Cinder and I were just talking about how fun it would be to have a canine night. Cinder was the hellhound that was with me at the meet and greet. Silvervale then said, that would be a ton of fun. I've been really busy lately with the con prep and stuff, but things have been calming down lately. There's also a fourth image, so it wasn't just 3, and these are DMs with Cinder and Aru around a couple weeks after the initial meetup, and it's Cinder saying, hey Aru, have you heard from Silvervale about doing a wolfy collab with us? To which Aru said, let me message her right now. So hey, yet another person that Cinder manipulated and used. What a surprise. Bear in mind that a year later she would go on to also show up to her meet and greet and tell her mythic manager to message her on her behalf. I'm telling you, the people involved here need to get a restraining order on Cinder. This is ridiculous. Shortly after this disastrous apology, Bao went live to talk about it, and look, it was very emotional. Here's what she had to say. I'll let her do the talking.
And what I would have done if I was in their shoes, I just... I can't understand. I couldn't understand it. I couldn't understand it. We had been through so much offline and online.
I can understand it easily. It's money. Money. What? So Cinder sees you as not only competition, but less money. And money's what's important. Hi, Daniel. We're doing reaction videos today. We are.
And
Yeah,
there's
just one more
nothing
literally money. Exactly.
more confusing
Give me the
and
money.
more painful
Friendship.
than seeing
Friendship and lies. That's what
someone
this is.
in your friend group be so
being too
kind
soft. This
and
is too
so
soft.
warm
It's too soft.
to everyone around you, and feeling that they have slowly
You're being too
become
emotional.
colder and
Sorry.
colder towards you, and not knowing what you did or if it's your imagination. But because everyone loves
Don't
them,
cry. People are too oblivious about it.
you don't
Yeah, people are too
know if you want to say anything,
You gotta be honest.
and so you keep it to yourself.
I like to see the best
And
in
you
people.
keep hoping it's
but
your
even
imagination.
I know that people can be
But then
so
the
wrong.
cruel realization hits that it wasn't. And it's
Dude,
even more worse than you could have ever imagined.
I grew up like the largest before I had my apology to
more and turn my life around.
So yeah, it's definitely a very hard watch. Look, to the average person, this is just another drama, but to these people like Bao and Cotton and Silver and so many more, this is real life. This is someone they've known for years and genuinely thought that they were close and they were friends and they tried their best to treat Sinder like a precious person, not just a content creator or a VTuber. This is not something they'll just get over, right? They need therapy. They need psychiatric help. This is trauma. It's very hard to trust someone after something like this. As I've already mentioned, this didn't happen overnight. This was a multi-year operation from both Sinder and Redacted to backstab her friends. And she only apologized because she got caught. That is it. And people won't be forgetting about it anytime soon. But the question on everyone's minds is no doubt, is this the end of Sinder?
No.
Well, not necessarily. She might have burned every possible bridge in the VTuber community, but that doesn't mean she won't have viewers. She's an absolute psychopath that can't be trusted, but hey, other creators have done worse things and they still have a career. She will just never be able to reach the same level she had before this controversy, that's for certain. And in the end, controversies like these only serve to hurt gamer subs even further. She's a partial owner. I wouldn't be surprised if they dropped her. Anyway, that's the entire drama. I don't know how long the video is going to be, but just because you...
Thank you, Mujin. Very great video. We'll be doing the Hassan and H3 one. Give me a couple minutes to do that. We're going to just pull it up. For those on YouTube, I'll catch you all tomorrow for the next video. And for those, otherwise, stick around.